You on? Here? As soon as you're ready. Ready? Go. Okay. At this time, will the La Pryor Independent School District Board of Trustees please come to order? This is a regular meeting of the Board of Trustees being held this evening, July the 26th, 2023. The time now is 6 p.m. Let the record reflect that present at tonight's meeting are Joe Ramirez, Alejandro Perez, Anthony Gallegos, Marcel Valdez, Eloy Vera, and Aurora Nájera. Let the record also reflect that absent from the meeting is Board Member Eric Doobie. The Board does have a quorum and may proceed with the agenda, an agenda which has been posted more than the 72 hours required by law. With that said, at this time, will you please join me for a moment of silence? This time, will you please rise for our Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yo sé, está bien.
Thank you. At this time, we'll go ahead and proceed with our agenda. Before we go ahead and move on to the next item, which is going to be the public comment portion of our meeting. First of all, we want to thank those of you that are here, as always, for making the time to come. We certainly appreciate that. Thank you, Coach, and your staff for providing these nice caps and attire for the board members, and we certainly appreciate that. But again, thank you all for being here. Those of you that are joining us live, we certainly want to welcome you once again, and we will continue to live stream our meetings. The responses that we have received of people actually watching and joining us at our meetings is very, very, very good numbers. So it's a positive thing, and we want to definitely thank you for joining us and being here through the live stream portion. As we go ahead and move with our agenda, one item that is going to be discussed by the board later on in the meeting is the approval of August the 23rd, 2023. And this is for the public hearing for our budget. This is a time when the board does the budget. So in an effort to communicate to the community about how much money we have, how much money we don't have, what our budget is going to be looking like, we encourage you to please make time on August the 23rd at 5:30 for our public hearing on our budget and our tax rate. So if you can come, please go ahead and do that. I'm hoping to discuss this with our superintendent, and maybe we can also live stream our public hearing on our budget on the 23rd. So please keep that in mind, mark your calendars, and we hope to see several of you here at our meeting. So with that said, the last thing I want to do as a reminder, because we will not meet again until after school starts, and that is parents and our community. We struggled last year in attendance of our students. We encourage you to please do your part and make sure that we have a great start to our new school year with good attendance, and we can maintain that throughout the year, because this is going to be very critical this year, because we're not going to receive the amount of state aid that we have in the past. So every student that is here on campus is critical for us to be able to finance the operation of our school. So please, we ask you to, so let's start a great year with great attendance, and let's keep it from now until the last day. So with that said, we'll go ahead and continue. Does any board member want to add any comments to the public while we are in this portion of our meeting?
Mr. President, the only thing I like to focus on is on medical. I know that a lot of our kids are going to get sick, but remember to utilize the clinic as much as possible. so that the kids can come back to work, to school as soon as possible. They have an excuse absence, they're really ill.
Very good, and we do, we have some updates coming up on the clinic, and I'm glad you brought that up, and one of those is going to be an addition to a dental services at our clinic, which will help some of that, especially getting dental preventive care and those kind of things, very critical for our students and our community. So with that said, we'll go ahead and move on with our agenda. I just want to remind board members that we have 23 items on our agenda. You have received your board packet well in advance on Friday, so you've had plenty of time to look at the items that are here. I think all of the information was provided to each of us in order for us to make a wise decision on some of the items that are listed. With that said, at this time, do we have anyone that has signed up to address the board during the public comment portion? Okay, thank you. Let the record reflect no one has signed up to address the board during the public comment. Has anyone signed up to address the board during the public address portion of our meeting? Let the record reflect that no one has signed up to address the board during the public address portion of our meeting. Item number 2 is our consent agenda. In our consent agenda, we have the approval of the monthly bills, approval of the minutes of the regular board meeting of 6/28/23. We have the superintendent's report, and those include any of the staff that is here, and the financial portion of our consent agenda consists of the Zavala County Bank, our Lone Star Investment Pool report, monthly board budget report, tax collection report, and student activity report. Those are the items on the consent agenda. All of those documents are in your board packet. If you have highlighted anything on the consent agenda that you want to ask about at this time, the chair will now recognize Dr. Arevalo, Superintendent of Schools. You have the floor, sir, for the consent agenda for any comments you want to make or any of your staff would like to make.
Thank you, Mr. President. I appreciate that. Today we have our entire team is here. We came back to school on Monday, so the whole staff is here. Teachers come back on this coming Monday, so luckily we're able to assemble the whole team and answer any questions you have. We do have a great beginning to the school year. We've been providing training to our teachers to make them even more effective and even better than they've ever been, improve their skills. We got new teachers coming in as well, so we had contracted we bought some materials for them to use. They bought them years ago, but they've never received the training on Eureka Math, for example, HMH and English and Carnegie. And so we contracted with the vendor to come out and train our teachers, and they've been here this week getting that training to really prepare them to use that material so that the material gets effectively used. That's one thing that we did right now for our staff. I also want to just add real quick, thank you to the community for asking about supplies. We have been updating on Facebook the supplies that we are providing our students, but please be aware that that's not going to last all year. So as a plea to the parents in the community, please make sure you send supplies in to the teachers. I believe Ms. Marrero put a list of some of the things that normally were out, so please supply those, pencils, pens, dry erase, things of that nature, so that we have it throughout the whole year. Clorox, napkins, tissues. You see, it's a list on Facebook. But thanks again if you can send anything in. We will provide backpacks this year for every single student, mesh for the year for security reasons, of course. The first one's free. We're giving it to you. Again, part of our commitment to us for safety. If they damage it or lose it, the next one will be $10, but we will have some in the office that they could buy from us. I do want to say that it's going to be a great year together for our second year, so I'm excited about it. Ms. Marrero, would you like to share anything about the trainings you've done so far or anything that you want to share?
Yeah, let me just, another thing that we're going to provide are supplies, and we're asking for supplies, but we are providing some supplies to the students.
Yes, it's on Facebook. We provide supplies. What I'm saying is we need to replenish them. We can't keep replenishing them, so we're asking if they could send those throughout the year. When they get a chance, just send them in. Yes, ma'am.
So we have had, up to this point, the HMH, which is the reading program from kindergarten to 12th grade. All the teachers that teach English and the Spanish teacher participated for the training. From the feedback we got from the teachers, they felt that it was necessary and it's needed, and it provided them enough tools to be effective this year. We just completed 2 days of Eureka Math, which is kindergarten to 5th grade. It has been also very well received by the teachers. Carnegie Math, which is 6th grade to high school, will be provided tomorrow and Friday. And this has also been provided for the teachers for additional extra duty pay. In order to better support our teachers, we also invited every teacher assistant that is going to be collaborating with those teachers. That is in an effort to have the teacher assistants have the tools to also help the kids. For example, in the math, there's a lot of vocabulary and a lot of language and lingo that the kids need to be familiar with. And the more they hear it, cohesiveness through every person that they interact, the faster they will get to be successful in the program. One of the things that we discuss with the teachers is this might be the harder year because they have not done it before, but it's a program that builds every year. So as we grow every year, the kids will know what they're doing and they'll get better and better every year. The teachers have been very supportive. Almost every teacher that was invited, which is all the math and all the reading teachers, were present, the same thing as the aides. And we have registered up to today, before I left the cafeteria, 190 kids. Tomorrow will be open till 7:30 in the cafeteria. Okay. And as they register, we are providing the backpacks at that time. And we are reminding the parents that next Monday, the 7th, 2 days before school starting, we will have our open house. Well, the high school kids will get their schedules, but the elementary kids will also get to meet their teachers. But we're also going to do a little of work for the community so that they understand as a whole what is it that we're trying to accomplish this year at La Pryor. So the first hour will be an information session so that they know everything that we're doing. And then the last hour, from 5 to 6, they'll be able to work with the teachers and pick up their schedules. And then at 6:30, we will all convene at the stadium to do the Meet the Bulldogs tradition. It's every year.
Thank you, Mr. Herrero. Any questions, Mr. Herrero?
How many math teachers do we have at the high school, ma'am?
How many what?
How many math teachers, junior high and high school?
3 altogether.
3? Mm-hmm. I just wanted to commend you on this information you provided for us and on Facebook. It's really, really
Thank you.
informative. So.
And I've told the parents, because I've been there both days, I've been asking the parents the same question. How did they receive it? How did they feel about the information? The parents are very positive about it. Okay. And we have promised them that at least every 6 weeks, we will provide a newsletter that will also go to all of you. And it will also be shared by our technology department through Facebook. So everybody would have an opportunity to see what's happening on the campus. It could happen more than once every 6 weeks because some things do happen that need a little bit more urgency. But at least every 6 weeks they'll get one. And I was telling the board members earlier, we're getting one ready that will be delivered on the month before the first day, before the Meet the Teacher night, where it's going to showcase every staff member in the elementary and the secondary campus. Not only the new teachers, but everybody that is a teacher here. It will showcase, they'll have a picture of them, what are they teaching this year, and a little bit of information where they went to school, and just so that they get to know the human side of the people that are working with their kids every day. I think that is important, and since it stays on Facebook forever and they get it on their emails, if they ever need to ask a question about who is the person that works with their kids, all they have to do is go back to that newsletter.
I'd like to congratulate you. That's a real good.
Thank you.
That's a real good article.
I've done it in the past and I know how effective they are. Parents do like to be informed.
Thank you. Well, we have a parent here. Selena, did you get a chance to get that information that she sent out?
Yes, I got an email and it was very informative. And then there's even links. So if you click on the link, it'll take you.
It's got links as well?
Yeah. So it was very good.
Thank you, Mr. Ramos. Just wondering from a parent's point of view. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you very much. So parents, you have been informed that registration is going on, And so try to get that done, and don't wait until after the first day. That would be a great advantage to get that done and get it out of the way, and your kiddos will be ready to start on day one.
So, does anybody else have any questions from our team that's here right now? On the consent agenda stuff?
If not, the chair will entertain a motion to approve.
Awesome, move.
Motion has been made by Mr. Alejandro Perez to
second.
approve the consent agenda as presented. Is there a second?
Hold on, sir, I got a question. On page 12, the motion for electing a board member to represent us at the assembly. I think Ms. Nájera's name should be in there as the one being elected. She's doing a service, and that needs to be in the record.
You're correct, you're correct.
Be in
It's
the
not even
record.
in there, and I have it highlighted also.
So,
Part of the record.
So Eduardo Nájera's name as the delegate
yes, sir.
assembly representative at TASB in September. Any other corrections? Who made the second? Anthony Gallego seconded? Okay, this motion is debatable and amendable, requires a majority vote to pass. Any other discussion? If not, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor to approve the consent agenda as presented with the correction on page 12, signify by raising your hand. All opposed, same sign. 6 in favor, 0 against, motion passes. Next item is for your information only, and this is the update on the Cheerleader handbook. That information for you was is on page 70. I hope you had time to review that. Or is there any additional information you want to add to this, Dr. Arevalo?
No, the Cheerleader handbook, it was requested of us in the last couple of meetings. I believe Mr. Vera specifically asked me for it, and I did mention that we had the new sponsors working on it, creating it, and so they provided it to me a couple weeks ago during camp, and therefore I added it here so you could have it and read it, and it's going to go on our website. Mr. Rocky Olazcaga is going to add it on there, so it's going to be there for everybody. And I remind the board and the community one more time that we're currently working on updating the website. It's going to be completely changed. It's going to be a new website. So we're going to post it for now, but the new website is going to be more user-friendly, more interactive, and all the handbooks, including the Cheer Constitution request, is going to be on there as well. So it's under. Did you have any questions about it?
Yeah, I have one question and one comment. Who is the, I have a
Sponsor.
blank, the coach. Who is the coach for the cheerleading?
It's Miss Saldivar and Miss Saldivar and Miss Alex Flores. Alex Flores is for the junior, and Miss Saldivar is for the seniors, the senior grade level.
The other comment is, well, I've been asking for 2 years, and I appreciate it's finally been provided.
Yes, sir.
But my comment on that is, I would not want to be a cheerleader after reading that book, honestly.
This is super, super strict.
Yes.
I mean, but just the cheerleaders, what happened to the others? I do have a couple of comments, sir.
I can't hear very well, Mr. Guerra.
Well, my comment was that I would not want to be a cheerleader after reading all that book. I mean, it's very strict and it's very demanding. I mean, I've never seen something like that.
Well, it's been
so-
here for a long time, and even
Well,
even
that's
more
what I'm saying.
intensive.
You've never seen it?
We never saw it, and that's why,
Well, I mean, yeah.
But the question, I
it was
don't.
just a comment.
Yeah, 'cause I couldn't answer the question. I was like, wait, I can't answer that. All I'm saying, while I agree, I do see that a need for the expectations to be set high for everybody, right? And so they're representatives of the district, so, I mean, but I can't answer that.
Just a comment, so.
I do have some
Yes, sir.
questions. On page, see, the numbers are also off, so it's a little hard to read the numbers, but I believe it's 74 on the top. It's missing a line because there's 8, but it doesn't jive in with the next line on there. So there's a line missing, and I don't know what that is. Any
Okay.
cheerleader who quits the squad, whether the candidate gives notice or the following school year, there's something
It's
missing.
kind of like a misprint.
Yeah, I
Well,
guess
no,
when they,
there's a whole line.
when they
You
were-
can tell.
Can't see it, yeah.
yeah, when they were printing, I guess the printer ate a line. It looks like it ate it.
This-
Miss,
This, the
Ms.
same
Diaz?
thing happened on the following page. 75,
Yeah, it's a printer.
it's also missing a line.
Yes, can we make sure we send, when we post it on the website, it shows all those lines? And can we make sure we send to the board as well, the missing page, I'm sorry, the updated page with the missing sentence, okay? Yeah, that was just a printing error, I apologize for that. Machine must have been chewing it up.
See, I don't know if this is page 76 or 77, there's typed over it, or I'm not sure.
Yes,
But on page 76, it also says that the girls must, or cheerleader, does not say girls anymore, they must wear a ponytail. How can we say that? They want to wear their hair loose? We're making it very, very mandatory? We can't, can we do that? Is that legal? So you must tie your hair?
no, it's just for safety, they're athletes.
No, I know
So
that.
it's for safety
It's
reasons,
just-
it's not for looks, it's, so
No,
I
I
don't
know
think
that.
it's, well, I'm trying to answer your question though about the
Go ahead.
ponytail. I believe that it's a safety measure, because if the hair gets caught on one of those jumps, one of those twirls, they could get hurt. I could bring it up to the sponsors, but this is a sponsored constitution, I could bring it up to them if you're concerned about that, and ask them about that, so I can give you better clarity on that, but I believe it's a safety issue.
You had a comment?
Miriam, could you please comment on that?
Barrero, Ms. Barrero, you had a comment?
It is a safety issue.
It's a safety issue.
There are jumps where they are too
Spin,
close to
jump.
each other, or they, as they move, they can get tangled with somebody else, and they're moving so fast that it can create an accident. So it's more than anything just to control the movement of the hair so they can be protected.
Okay, because I asked some cheerleaders, and they were
It's
like,
for protection.
okay, and on page 89, I think that is, the signature receipt page, it says a signature page for the Pryor ISD handbook. It's not a cheerleader handbook. So we need to correct that. Or is that something different?
We could add cheerleader under,
Well, that's what it is,
absolutely,
because this is not the handbook.
okay.
I do have,
And, yeah, well, I was just gonna say, I mean, if we're making these girls accountable for all these things that are in there, that's a lot of information in there.
Right.
Why not the athletes? They're
There
leaders,
is,
just like
there
they
is.
are.
They have
There
it.
is.
They
I
have
don't think it's as strict as the cheerleaders, though. I
No.
read it, and it's not as strict.
The athletes have 3 times more than that. They have a
No.
lot of stuff,
Did you read all the cheerleader?
huh?
There's a lot more. I
Oh,
compared.
well, if
But
you
I know
think
it's
so,
always a
but I don't-
problem with
I don't think
cheerleaders,
so. I
so-
think the athletic program has a lot more,
it's
including
followed
drug.
through.
I mean, it doesn't have drug testing in there. We might put drug testing for the cheerleaders.
We're gonna address drug testing as well later on. He will discuss it later.
That's what I had to.
I do have a question. I just found it. I think it's page 78.
Okay.
Says, not following the chain of command,
What item, D, E?
5, ED,
Okay.
E5.
Okay, fine, demerits.
No, not following the chain of command. I noticed one of the other handbooks had the chain of command, but this one, my question is, what is the chain of command for the cheerleading, for the cheerleaders?
I,
Cheer sponsor.
Can we include it in there?
Be specific,
I mean,
maybe.
the other ones had it.
Just to add the specificity.
Yeah.
okay, so we'll,
Without names, but with titles,
The type.
because it will change.
Oh, yeah.
and we'll talk to Ms.
Just
Flores
type.
and Ms., whatever comments you make, I'm gonna share Ms. Flores and Ms.
Okay.
Olivar so they can make the
I mean,
adjustments for
it's
you guys.
just, I noticed one of the other handbooks had it, and
Yeah.
I thought the
and then
ladies
this
about
one
it.
doesn't have
Procedure.
it.
Absolutely. We just want to get it into your hands so you
Yes,
can
sir.
see it.
Yes, sir.
And now give them the feedback and then they'll make those adjustments, sir.
Yes, sir. That's it.
Good catch on that, Ms. Nahara, on the handbook.
Any other any other questions regarding the update on the cheerleader handbook? If not, let the record reflect that this is for information only, and no action is required by the board. I apologize, I skipped item number 3, which is another information item only, and this is the care coordination agreement services between Camino Real and La Pryor ISD will continue through 2023, 2024.
Question, before
Yes.
you go any further, I understand that, we're just information only as far as not adopting our cheerleader handbook?
Because we use the student code of conduct as the overarching disciplinary tool.
But they're not the same.
Right, but we're not adopting, this is something, it's just informational only. It's been adopted a long time ago. We're just sharing with you guys. But Miriam, could you share with him?
Is this the question relating to why you don't
Right.
approve it, and you're just bringing it up as an information item? Just want to make sure I
Yeah.
understood correctly. So,
Could you come to the podium, please?
yes, I'm sorry.
Because that way the parents can hear you too.
So, as a cheer sponsor, former cheer sponsor, I used to attend the legal sessions for cheerleading, and that's where they recommended that you not approve it so that you are free of liability. If there's any disputes, because they do come up, then the board is not liable because it's an information item and it's taken care of at the campus. Cheerleading is a privilege. That's something they always say, but and so in order for us to be protected as a district, that's why they highly recommend that the board not approve it and just, informational item is fine, but just not approve it.
So in other words, if a cheerleader breaks rules or athlete breaks the rules, the AD or the head cheerleader sponsor can make the rule.
Of course, they're under the supervision of the principal and ultimately the superintendent. I mean, that's the way we have addressed it before. If anything ever happens, if you follow the regulations that you're reading about right now, and then you follow the steps. You go to the next step. If there's a parent complaint, then you try to address it, and then you follow the chain of command.
Ms. Salivar
So-
is here. Thank you for coming in, Ms. Salivar. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
So I didn't come for, I apologize, but.
No.
But they had some questions on it and a couple comments. One is they wanted more specificity. We need to find a chain of command. We could put the co-captain, captain, sponsor,
Yes.
the name of the chain of command. And then, in the last page, the signature page, add the cheerleading handbook, not just handbooks, so it's clear
Okay.
about cheerleading signature page. And then they were just asking about the FYI on the document, just because they understand for legal reasons, it's not something we approve, just a FYI to the board.
Yes.
So is there anything you'd like to share about the team so far? Maybe update them on that?
Oh, well, the team did great in camp. We went out there, they had a blast. We learned a lot this year. And I just got off the phone with one of the moms that she's like, one of the girls had said nothing but good things about you and how the camp went, that it was awesome, they learned. And we already started cheerleading practice as well.
I heard, are you intending to do things differently this year than from past years? Any ideas?
Yes, I told them this year we will be cheering more, because I know last year it was just like,
So just
because I went to the games, yeah, so I saw. So I told them, no, this year we will have more cheers, more stunts. We're going to try to get the community involved with us.
I appreciate said stunts, because the
Yes.
question came up about requiring them to wear ponytails. Would you like to address that, why you're requiring ponytails?
Oh, yes, because if you're stunts and they pull your hair, I mean, you can bring down the whole team with you.
Yeah.
And especially since we have those flyers up in the air, it's more dangerous for them.
That's what we thought. We just want to make clarity on it. Okay. Anybody else have questions for Salivar?
It's just a comment, Alyssa. We were talking about how the handbook, or the cheerleading handbook, is super, super strict. And I hope it's followed for
Yes.
everyone else, not just the cheerleaders.
Yes, and
the
we're still
athletes and all
we're
that.
still working on the handbook because I have a lot more to put in there. So it's like that's just a
It's
copy.
strict
but-
enough, girl.
I know.
See? Keep asking for more. You get more.
Because I want to follow it as much as possible this year, because
Yes.
that way they know like this is what we're following and we're gonna go by the book.
I asked her and the voters to really work hand in hand this year, more collaboratively than in the past. Again, I can't talk about the past, but this year going forward, they're going to work more collaboratively, so therefore, the same expectations for the junior high team is the same as this high school team, and the same disciplining procedures, the same recommendations, commendations. That way, it's very aligned, everything they do with both teams. It's going to be like one continuance unit. And thank you,
So
Ms.
this
Salivar.
is
Appreciate-
junior high and high school.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, because we both went over it together
Together.
to see like what we needed to add, what we needed to take off. Because I know we took off the $400 deposit. We took that off.
The one that you guys were worried about, took it out.
So yeah, so we're still working on it, but we've been like busy with camp and everything. So but it will get done. I will get it done.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Okay, item number 3 is also information only, and this is only a reminder that the La Parra Independent School District services agreement with Camino Real will continue on the 23-24 school year. Anything you want to add, Dr. Arevalo?
No, they've been working with us for a couple of years now. It's just a continuing of their services in partnership with us. So it's just FYI that we're going to continue working with them closely. Our counseling team works with them. Our counseling team knows them. And so a relationship, we want to continue to maintain it. Would you guys like to say anything about the relationship?
So we had 13.
The community, what?
Camino Real is the local mental health authority, and that's who I collaborated with the crisis. When I say crisis, we had 13 suicide ideation attempts this year. That's really high.
So they help you with the
they've been
crisis
working-
situations?
Yes, to get them hospitalized.
That's good to know. Thank you.
Who's the person we deal with there? Who's the director or executive? What is it authorized? Executive director.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Who is it?
Is there Jody? Is this still, who's the executive
Jody
director?
not,
No,
Jody
he's
not,
Who's the
not the
executive
director.
Jody not the director, right?
Through Lido. That's where their main office is.
No, who's the executive director?
I don't know who their director is.
I thought it was Jody, but it was the other,
Now,
the
Jody-
other, the other council. The other council, right, right.
He's from Care Connections, and he's the case manager.
Gotcha.
Okay, any other information regarding item number 3? Again, this is for information only and no action is required by the board. Item number 5 is for information only. There are 2 bills, 2 House bills that have been passed during this legislative session. That's House Bill 114 and House Bill 567. These House bills will directly impact how student discipline is held and grooming policies, not only for La Pryor ISD, but statewide in the state of Texas. Again, at this time, the chair will yield the floor to our superintendent for any additional information on item 4.
Thank you.
Can I
Wait.
go ahead and input one of those bills, please? One of the things that we covered in our work session when we looked at hospitals, and we looked at, I guess it could be a safety issue, I don't know what it is, but it's more of a grooming, is the fact that we have to, when we look at grooming, we look at the culture of the community, the culture of the school, and that is something that is not included in that bill that is readable. And I think the culture, the word culture is very important when we decide where we should go.
So thank you, Mr. Pettis. So House Bill 567 is the one he's referring to?
Yes.
House Bill 567 refers to non-discrimination against any person for hair, whether it's texture, based on race. And so what happens is that we're gonna have to make sure we adjust. So coming up is the handbooks, and we're gonna be talking about those. And so a lot of recommendations I'm making are based on this law. And so we're gonna get it to in a minute. But I want the parents to understand that if you go Google it right now, House Bill 567, you'll see it's called the Crown, they call it short the Crown Law, which prohibits any ISD from discriminating in any way when it comes to hair. It opens up
Yeah,
a whole kind of.
but
Let
it
me
talks about
finish.
culture.
Let me finish my
And
thing.
you're missing culture.
No, it didn't ask culture at all.
Yes,
And
it
then it
is.
says House Bill 114 addresses the issue around any student caught in any ISD with marijuana, THC, or any paraphernalia around vaping is now going to be an automatic placement in DAP. So parents, I'm pleading to you right now, every ISD is going to have to put every single student that gets caught with any kind of contraband around vaping materials, will have to confiscate it, turn it over to the police, so that they could then do what they have to do legally, and they automatically get placed in DAP. This year, again, it's gonna be in the policy changes we're gonna address right now in a few minutes. So parents, I'm making a plea to you, if you know in any way that your children are using these items, make sure you do not let them come to the school. Remember, legally, they have to be 21 years of age anyway, so if they are, they shouldn't be doing it, but definitely keep it away from the school, because it could really have negative consequences on your students and your children as they come to the school. So please make sure that you're aware of those two House bills. I just want to clarify before we begin our discussions.
Can I add to the vaping situation? We have we have a place now that sells it. And I don't know how we can monitor that, but we should ask our policemen to help us monitor who goes in. And I don't know, it's very hard, because it's like a store. It is, I guess, a cigarette store, but I know they sell those.
Well, legally, they should only be selling to adults, right, turn one over.
I know,
So it's, the minors, like anybody else, they'd be breaking the law if they did that, so.
Do we have any, I know that at one time we had a poster, that we developed, and we gave it to the stores that says, this store, supports the school, and this was some of the things that are illegal.
We could print something like that, but like a poster like that up and just take it to the store and ask the owner if he'll put it up for us. I mean, I'm sure he or she would be more than agreeable to keep the kids out of there, because they don't want to lose their license, they don't want to get fined. So I don't see why they wouldn't put that sign up. As a matter of fact, if they don't put that sign up for me, I'd have some wonderings of why you wouldn't want to sign up there, right? So it's a good point, Mr. Perez. I'll create a poster and take it to them, ask them to put it up for us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Dr. Oliva, I have a question on that. The 114,
Yes, ma'am.
we already deal with the police, right? The students caught with vaping or with drugs. Don't y'all automatically call the police, or we have them on campus? Or y'all take care of it?
Right, so we do have the police and we do turn it over to them, right? What's happening is the law has been kicked to a higher level now. So now police do have to take action on it. We do have to put in DAP. It's no longer discretionary.
Okay.
So they took that out of our hands. Now automatic. And that's what's different about it.
Which is easier to deal with now.
Yes, ma'am, because there's no more about, in your opinion, or maybe they weren't using it. No, it's automatic. If you have it, it's going to be consequences.
And that goes for a gun, that, people come in at campus with a gun, and same thing, there's automatic punishment.
Right.
Years, when I was a principal, it wasn't automatic, you had to go through a whole procedure to get them to.
Yeah, but now it's like, why didn't you do it to this
Yeah.
child, you do it to this one, so
Right, no
that's
more,
good.
that's done. Yes, ma'am. And it doesn't matter whether, let's be clear, parents, it doesn't matter whether the student is caught using it or not using it. If it's in their possession, it applies.
And that includes when we have the dogs also, when they search the cars and they found that material in the cars.
Yes.
Okay, any other comments regarding House Bill 114 and House Bill 567? If not, we will go over to item number 6. Let the record reflect that this item was for information only, therefore no action is required by the board. Item number 6 is a discussion and possible action to approve the 2023-2024 Student Code of Conduct. Before the chair recognizes our superintendent of schools, want to remind parents that the superintendent had a chat with the superintendent session earlier this summer, where the student code of conduct was discussed with some of the parents that were here. We appreciate the parents that did come, so we will. Some of that also was taken into consideration in developing the code of conduct. So with that said, the chair recognizes the superintendent of schools for item number 6.
Thank you, Mr. President. And again, thank you for reminding the community as well. Yes, I did have a chat with the superintendent and a breakfast with the superintendent about 3 weeks ago or so, a month ago. And it's something that I would like to keep doing every couple of months to inform the community. It's more of a forum where we sit down in casual form in a town hall setting where it's open communication, everybody could speak their mind and share their thoughts. It really worked out very well, and everybody was able to share their thoughts on some of the decisions coming up today that we're making. It also allowed parents to have a voice. So please, I encourage you all, when I send the next update on Facebook, I invite you all to participate. I set one up in the morning and one in the evening, so I was able to accommodate your hours. So I hope that you show up to those, because as we open up communication with the community, it empowers you to have a voice. If you don't appear in these meetings, then we don't know what your voice is, and I would like to include it when we make decisions. I do have a parent here that was in those meetings. Ms. Ramos was in the meetings as well. Ms. Ramos, would you please come to the podium and share with the community the setting and how you thought that the meetings went, and if you thought they were productive in your opinion?
In my opinion, good meeting. There were things discussed that parents normally wouldn't, I guess, not that they wouldn't know about, but in detail. They went over test scores, they went over the SPED program, and I think that's very important for the parents to know. And if you don't attend these meetings, then you're thinking, well, what's going on? But I'm glad that you had those, because sometimes I have questions too, and it was very informative. And there was a couple of other parents as well who had opinions, but I think it was productive. I usually come here, and of course I'm going to be at those, and I'll probably go again. But I don't know.
Good.
It was good.
Well, I do appreciate you showing up for those meetings, and I hope you continue to be a part of our discussions. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
So that being said, from those discussions with the parents in the community that day, I repeat again, House Bill 567 and 114 are very much driving a lot of these changes. On page 96, we begin there. Item 6 and 7, I've scratched them out. Colored dye hair designs cut into hair are prohibited. Colored dyed hair is permissible as long as they're not offensive or disruptive. Took that out. Earrings are permitted, but jewelry may not be worn, pierced body. So we added, just change it to earrings and piercings are allowed, only the ear in those areas. Number 19, no shorts will be worn by...
Excuse me.
Yes.
It specifically lists girls, right? At the very start?
All students.
All students?
Yes, all students.
So you're gonna admit earrings and nose rings?
Yes. Yeah.
I
So-
don't think that's part of our culture, to be honest with you, and I also read the other bill, because the one we went through at the
Yes.
session, it listed that bill specifically. When we went to discuss it, it listed the word culture, and that's why I go back to culture. Is it the culture of the school? If it's the culture of the school,
So it says, no, I repeat one more time, sir, you're mistaken, there's no culture in there. I have it right here in front of me.
I'm
I have-
sorry,
I have-
but the list
I have-
of
I have right here in front of me. So, Bill 567, relating to
No,
discriminations.
I'm not reading that one. I'm reading what we went through.
Yeah.
That lists all the laws that were gonna be passed. And when we got to that one, it specifically mentioned culture. That's why I'm bringing it up.
All you gotta do is read the law, sir. I'm gonna repeat it one time. Relating to discrimination on the basis of hair texture or protective hairstyle associated with race. Protective hairstyle associated with race and hairstyles, including braids, locks, twists, any associated with race. Of course, anybody could extrapolate this and take it to the next level, and obviously means anybody that considers it part of their race or part of their culture, right?
And
So-
I know why they're doing it, because of the blacks. And I'm not talking about blacks, and you're talking about the culture of the school, the culture of the
So
kids.
let me go back on that, because we can't say things like that, sir. I will tell you that what we can say is that we cannot determine from now on what is or is not right about hair. They were sued and they lost, and that's why the law's in place. So my job is to protect our district. It's not about my opinion or what I feel looks good or doesn't look good. We need to leave that out. We need to keep this by the law, black and white. The law clearly says we cannot discriminate, and I recommend we do not. But that's a different discussion. We talk about the shorts right now, because at the end, and then you guys make the decision after I recommend this. 19, no shorts will be allowed. I said shorts are allowable at both district campuses. They must be 2 inches above the knee. Ms. Ferrero posted pictures of what those shorts should look like, so students should follow those rules when it comes to wearing them. In this heat, it's getting hotter and hotter. It's almost inhumane not to let the kids wear shorts. And we're worried about tennis. Mr. Pettis, you care about tennis as much as anybody that I've ever met. Therefore, telling a kid to stay home because he doesn't have pants, because he doesn't have shorts, or tell him to stay home because his haircut's not right. We lose the tennis like that. We want to encourage a culture of acceptance and of wanting you to be here, a positive atmosphere. Number 23, warm-ups and sweats worn as long as they have no holes or hoodies must be kept on at all times. The way you define this is simple. Is what you're putting in here interfering with instruction? If it's not interfering with instruction, it's unnecessary. If the students are learning and they're behaving and they're participating in activities, that's the goal. If it's not interfering with instruction, it's unnecessary to put in there and cause stress to our administration and our teachers to enforce something that is not necessary. That's my opinion,
Now, why don't we go to uniforms?
because you're going the opposite direction, then you're being stringent, so then
No.
kids won't show up.
No, you're offering the material.
It's too late, it's late
No.
right now.
So page
For that,
9,
it's too late, that idea is out.
Well,
horse at the bar, right?
Your baby.
It's all the rules the same thing, you know, we're going to let the kids wear long hair and everything else.
It's a
We might as
state.
well have uniforms too.
It's a state.
No, all I want to add is that we did have students attend those meetings, and some of the things that were discussed about shorts and shorts length
And
and hairstyles, the kids that were there at the meeting, they brought that information forward.
Yeah.
What they felt comfortable having and how their peers would react to their input. So they, they had an input as well on some of these.
keep in mind, all I'm doing is recommending these things, you're guys gonna vote on it. I'm just making the argument why we should go in this direction, right? And another thing is that when we had these town halls, when I had these town hall meetings, the point was to take community input. We want to include the community's decision-making. It shouldn't be just the 7 of us deciding what isn't or isn't right. We should open up our ears. We say all the time, communication. Well, this is communication. I had 5 parents there, I had 4 students there, I had board members, I had teachers, and they all participated, and they all were recommending in this direction. So it's not about trying to rule here, it's about doing what is wanted by the community.
So can I just make a comment?
Of course.
It's good that we're making these changes. I mean, some of us probably don't like it, but, this is now. The future it's now. Go back to when we were in school, man, we couldn't, my haircut was probably out of style. It would be, not complying with policy, And one thing that I looked at the previous hair policy that was in place and the military policy, because I was in the military. I put them side by side, and they were almost exactly the same.
Military?
Yeah. So what are we doing? It should be a parent. If a parent wants to send a student with long hair, it's their right.
But it's not our
Shouldn't be.
objective.
Huh?
This is not our objective. We want to
understand
prepare,
that, but-
we want to prepare a student to real life and to employment.
But times have changed, so we have to.
Well,
assist
that's my philosophy.
Yeah, and that's okay. It's
Whatever
respected.
we're doing as a teacher
Yeah.
or as an administrator, that we're preparing a student for his life. And, we had a comparison that Walmart doesn't allows long hair, HEB and tattoos and everything else, maybe, not all of them. But, I don't want my kids to work at Walmart all their life. I want them to pursue something else and something that will give them a good life. And I have very conservative. I might be a liberal, but I'm very conservative. Conservative.
We respect your opinion, Mr.
That's what I
Perez,
mean. I have a very
but,
conservative opinion.
You gotta respect the rights
Opinion
of
of the
others,
community.
If the parents wanna have their children to come in
That's good.
shorts and in long hair,
Well, the only thing,
Should be allowed.
all I can tell you is you're putting a lot more pressure on the principals.
No, the opposite.
No, I'm sorry. When you try, open the door for something like this, you're gonna have to go check every day.
On page 99, I talked about tobacco products. I scratched it out because that now gets moved to a mandatory placement. So I put that in blue so you can see that. By the way, I appreciate your feedback last month when you wanted the strikes and the colors. So I hope you appreciate the strikes and colors I did on these
No,
books.
that's-
So you can see them better.
That helps a
So-
lot.
So I took it out because it's no longer an option, but it's mandatory, so I moved it. If you look on page 101, it's there now, so I've added it there. Student is found in possession of tobacco products, cigarettes, e-cigarettes, and any component, part, accessory for e-cigarette is now a mandatory DAP requirement above in page 101. So those are the changes. It's really not a lot. It's really not a lot. I don't think it's a lot, but I think our community wants it. I think our community teachers want it. I think our principals want it. I think that this is the direction we should go in. It is 2023. I understand. I totally respect your opinion, Mr. Perez. That's not what I'm saying. In my opinion, is where we need to go to encourage attendance, to raise our numbers, and really to be with the times with our community. So my recommendation
One way
is,
we can encourage attendance is for teachers to help us get the kids into the school.
So my recommendation is that we approve the changes to the student code of conduct as I have requested in the book.
I thought did we address the tattoos on here? The cover tattoos? I thought they were on there, but I'm not sure.
On page,
Right.
they have tattoos, but we didn't discuss, did we discuss what they feel, Mr. Ramirez?
Covered.
Covered.
They have to be
So
covered.
the community didn't feel that tattoos should be, well, there's some that you can't do anything about, right? But in general, if it's got sleeves, they should wear sleeves, things like that nature. It's what the mood was with the parents, right? Were you there? Was that one?
I wouldn't have done it.
And they said that they weren't covered, yeah.
Full cover, like athletes who play basketball. I mean, sometimes these kids have,
I guess in that situation, we're talking about like in classrooms, and
Yeah.
things of that nature.
Yeah, but you're right, on basketball, because they don't have any sleeves, some kids, and I know the coaches were pretty good about having those sleeves to cover up tattoos.
okay. So it's addressed, okay.
Is that something you address, Coach Bias?
As a matter of fact, I was looking at the handbook. We have tattoos shall be covered during athletics, including practice and competitive contests and facilities.
So you have tattoos in there, or in there, the community didn't indicate they were willing to get that changed. So, like I said, I'm only responding to what the community feedback was. So that's your recommendation.
I do have a question now.
Oh, one more?
You know, about the shaving,
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
you know, that we're giving them
what page?
$1.
It's on the grooming, it's on page
96.
96, yes.
Because
Faces 10,
going
right?
back to the last school, and I think I told you about it, last school season, I mean, it wasn't being enforced. You know, I saw 2 students here with beards and mustaches. And so I think, you know, why do we have it if it's not going to be enforced? And I saw it because I was here. So
Just for clarity, what's your recommendation?
I would recommend that we take it off.
Okay. So
What's that?
you're saying that students should not have to be required to shave?
No, if they want to wear a
They weren't doing it
mustache,
all last year. A lot of kids had
you know,
mustaches.
some of them do. I mean, some of them, the parents are strict, like me. I told my kids, hey, you get a haircut.
Well, Mr. Bunsen he was at the elementary registration just now, so he just joined us. And he was in the high school last year. Mr. Bunsen, was there a problem with beards last year with male students?
That should be.
We had the boys shaving pretty much on a regular basis, but there's it's like everything else. The trend is towards they want to, if they can grow a beard, they want to wear a beard, and I feel about that the same way I do about hair color and stuff like that. I don't think it impedes their learning, so I'm okay with them wearing beards myself. I didn't really see it as much of an issue.
But was it a problem last year?
Not really. I mean, when we asked the boys to shave, they would shave.
Okay.
But it was clear that they wanted to have their beards.
Yeah, see, what happens, you spend more time telling, get a haircut,
I agree.
like I used to do when I was in school. We had one teacher that's all he did. I don't think he did anything else. They just tell us,
The same thing
And it
goes
takes-
for chores, it takes
away
hair, it
from-
goes everything. You're
overburdens.
making our principals do more time, spend more time trying to
They're
get
going
the
to spend
same
less
training.
time addressing those issues.
That's a good point, and that's administrative point of view. Appreciate that. Counselors, do you have any opinions about the situation with beards and trimming?
I think it's actually
Nice
a
and loud,
safety issue because you're
Just loud.
giving them razors, giving them access to razors, and we have cutters. So there's that safety issue as well.
So you're not talking cosmetic, you're talking about life or death or
Yeah,
possible...
because they were getting the razor out of the blade and cutting. So that's the safety issue. That was my concern. And I think that's more of an issue than.
Rocky, are they hearing her, Rocky?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so your concern is more that our student could harm themselves in the bathroom and you don't know about it because they're cutting themselves.
And the hair color doesn't bother me personally. It's just their self-expression. It's the culture. We're in a different time. That's my opinion.
Thank you, appreciate that, Ms. Davis.
It's a very good comment right there.
Ms. Rangel, I need your opinion, please, as a counselor.
I mean, I agree, sir. I just want the child here so that they can learn. If we start putting all these things into place, like go shave, go cut your hair, go do this, change your clothes, all this, they're not gonna be here. And we are in a different world. It is a different atmosphere, anywhere you go. And I just want the child here to learn. And I know so do parents, so does everybody else here.
Thank you. Ms. Barrero?
Can I say something? You go.
Ms. Barrero first and then Mr. Gallego.
My concern is, as many issues as we are encountering in the year 2023 with kids having issues with self-esteem, if they find something, that be hair color, that be a parent that allowed it, because a tattoo that a child has is because a parent allowed them to get it.
That's true.
If that's an expression that will make that kid self-aware, self-secure, I'm actually protecting a child from harming themselves because they feel better about themselves. The job of an educator is to instill pride. But I cannot tell them what pride looks like, because what pride looks like for me and what pride looks for him and for you is different. But when I take away that one thing, and we have kids that might be the only thing that makes them happy. If I take that one thing that allows this kid to come to school and show the world that they're trying to do better, what are we really doing for kids?
Mr. Gallego? Thank you, Mr. Barrero.
I see both sides. I see the culture's changing. You know, kids, want to paint their hair, grow out beards, wear certain clothes.
You got a nice beard, sir.
Thank you. And I like a beard. I mean, you're a man, you want to wear a beard, you trim it, you want to grow it long. You're an adult, you do what you want. At some point, there's a fine line, though, and when we got students and then student athletes, when they go and represent our school, just like when you go into the military, you represent the military, there's certain guidelines and rules. So what's gonna be the line when you got an athlete that when we're going out and coach wants them shaved and groomed, and what does the school say? So where are we on that?
What about the safety issue that the council's brought up?
Oh, no, and as far as the razor, yeah, I get that, shave at home. If you don't, that's, I don't think we need to push that.
But that's what they do.
That's what they do. When it comes to, athletics, if I think the coach should be in charge of that call and leave that for him. And then when they're in school, the administrators, principals being in charge of that.
Coach?
Coach?
With all this said, I still have clean shaven in our handbook. I have no one natural hair color for athletes. I have no earrings or jewelry worn in athletic competition, athletic facilities.
But that's a safety issue.
Now, that's a safety issue, yes it is. Now, if I see them in the hallway, if we're permitted in the hallway, I'm not gonna say a word in the hallway. But before they get into the athletic facilities, they're gonna come out. Because again, I seen a stud get stuck inside the earlobe.
No, that thing in discussion is the beard right now. How about
No,
the beard?
well, the beard I have is clean shaven because it goes to what we said. We're gonna represent the Pryor, and we're gonna be one individual. We're ambassadors. That's the face they're gonna see. And in athletics, we're promoting teamwork and unity and one being. 100 people make one. So that's the promotion. That's why I believe for athletes at least, that we should be clean shaven.
Well, I feel in his department, if that's what he wants, and I respect that decision, and if he's gonna have a student shave, I do want him present while the student is doing it.
The other thing, that there's gotta be barriers to everything. There's gotta be barriers to long hair. There's gotta be barriers to facial hair. There's gotta be barriers to earrings. We didn't put any barriers on this thing. There's gotta be barriers. Do we let people wear earrings, long earrings? If they play basketball, they're not going to wear them. They're not.
No, they
gonna,
can't.
They wear them.
Again, that's a safety measure. They can't.
They can't.
Right.
They can't wear them.
It's safety. Yeah.
So that's what I mean. There's got to be barriers to everything else. If the parent decides to go to our book, then they can beat us. They can beat us because all we didn't put any kind of safety issue to it. That includes, do we want, I don't mind mustache on a kid if he trims it well, but I do have a problem with the beard. I do have a problem with the beard. Not unless there's gotta be, there's gonna be some kind of restrictions or some kind of thing to tell us that, yes, you're all right, but you're not all right.
Mr. Gaetan, you had a question?
Should be the parent.
Yes, this 21-22 year, I noticed we was having trouble with our sewer lines. And one of the main things was, I think it'd be good if they had to shave, maybe have a designated area, being that those racers were thrown into the toilet, and then it was plugging up our sewer line. And we've been having to call, the plumber, or maybe we could purchase a roto-rooter, and we could do it ourselves. But this 21, 22, we had, I think we called the plumber, just strictly for that high school, I would say about 8 times.
Wow.
And I think that's too much. Really.
Yeah, no, 8 times,
They're not-
8
they're not
times
cheap.
a plumber visit, you guys could imagine the number, how much that cost us. Mr. Ramirez?
I think in a nutshell, what both counselors said over there and what Marrero said over here, I mean, I'm in agreement with them. Things are changing, just like Mr. Vera said over there. And like Rangel mentioned, I feel that we need not to distract the kids from not coming to school. I mean, I don't think we've been to where, it's gone too ridiculous when the students wearing whatever. But like Mr. Rangel mentioned, times are changing. I mean, and I don't think we have too much of an issue with what's been going on so far.
And it all depends, I guess, in closing the remarks on this, and so we can continue and go ahead and vote. But Coach's comments as far as his department and how he wants to handle that, that's something that is, instilled and it's a thing that if you want to play or if you want to be in athletics, these are the things you got to follow to do that.
I'm sorry. Now, if we're going to allow it in school, Saturday through Wednesday, I'm not going to argue that. But Thursday, when we're about to go play, we could be clean shaven. And to be honest, with the athletes, if we tell them to shave, they would shave at home. They wouldn't shave at school. They'd shave at home, and they'd come clean shaven. We've never had an issue with athletes. If we saw stubborn guy, just shave tomorrow, and they would come clean shaven. We never, as far as we once in a while in off season, the seniors, but the athletes that are underclassmen, if we asked them to shave, they would shave at home. They would take care of it there. They wouldn't take care of it at school.
And so every department and every group that we have in our school system, some of those are going to vary between groups. I'll remember, and I don't know what the ag teacher is going to do this year, but facial hair and those kind of things were not allowed in FFA. You were clean shaven, you wore a white shirt and a tie, and your blue jacket. That's just the way it was, and so every department and every culture and those kind of things are going to be a little bit different, and that's understandable. I remember going to a basketball tournament and you'll see all of the Kinipa kids walk into that tournament and every one of them had a tie. When they got off that bus, they all wore a tie and they went in there, sat down until it was time to suit out. So everybody's gonna be a little bit different. Yes, I'm one of those that I was old school, raised in Bracketville like that, and you didn't have facial hair, you didn't have, sideburns everything had to be, done that way. And when I was teaching, and I would tell the kids, hey, you can't be wearing earrings and stuff like that because you want to go work at HEB or whatever. They're not going to hire you. And now you look at HEB now. Look at half of the people that check you out. They've got nose rings. They've got all kinds of stuff. So the cultures are changing, and I'm one of those that hate to see that, but I have to adjust and see what's best. And we're here for what's best for our students. And if that's gonna make them happy, like Ms. Barrero said, you know, and that's their identity, I mean, let's support them.
If the board, and just to, like I said, I want to wrap it up because we have a lot of discussions going forward. I will add the exception for the earrings to non-sports because that's just a safety measure added in there. But the beard thing, if you want,
Let
we could.
me ask, an earring, can we be specific? Because there's all types of earrings, and maybe studs,
Earlobes and nose, that's it.
huh?
Just earlobes and nose, nowhere else.
I know.
He's talking about like the length, the long one.
Yeah, because you don't want one that, with a chain to the nose, and then that
Now
could be
you're
a
talking
safety
about-
issue too.
Now you're talking
And
about,
then, you know, because if you got nose and ear,
Yeah,
you know,
that wouldn't
let's
be
just
allowed.
say that they're not gonna do that. So let's
Yeah.
just put a stipulation that,
Yeah, we could put
What is
pictures.
acceptable and what is not acceptable.
but we just need to be specific on
I will.
what they're gonna wear, and what's allowed.
And if 90 minutes not enough, I think if we write the law
Normally for
and
males, it's
display the law,
the wrong ones, and
no excuses.
Yeah.
they can wear religious things.
no, I think you gotta be specific.
How about,
Because if you're gonna fight it, if you're gonna go to court, you're gonna have to be more specific.
Well, again, this is actually protecting us. So anyway, the beard, if you'd like, we could amend that too, saying, the beard is not allowed in sports, or we could just leave it, table it for, that, for another day, I could talk to a parent and do another next superintendent meeting and have parents.
I think as long as it doesn't conflict with the athletic handbook or the cheer handbook, the whole student body, you know, is on its own, but as long as it doesn't conflict with any other handbooks, I think it's fine.
Or we can leave it, everything like that, and then just put a notation in there.
But beard,
These,
beard.
the hair, facial hair issues may differ with the athletic handbook. Or any other
We
handbook,
could do that.
or any other
See,
organization.
I could go for that all
So
day.
it could be in the
Yeah.
school,
Or in the middle there.
but not in games.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. The handbook for athletic does not reflect that. Doesn't
It's
say
not
that. That's what you're saying about the beard. You know,
Yes, sir. It's
well,
under,
the one that I asked about, I called Mr. Marrero, was this the complete athletic?
Which page?
on page
thing?
16, under for male athletes, no facial
Well,
hair is permitted, students should be clean shaven,
Well, then,
sideburns
not
may not extend
correct.
below the earlobe.
What you told me, so
We don't have that
No.
whole thing.
that's why I asked you.
The athletic handbook?
But that's, are you changing anything?
No, sir.
That's why, he's not changing.
No, the thing is,
I highlighted it because I knew it could be, it might have been different
You
from
cannot
what we're talking about.
you cannot do that. If you're gonna, if the student handbook says they can wear long hair and they can wear a beard, you can't do that.
Those-
Just have one specific for.
Sir.
You know, no.
Okay, we can leave it
You
out.
can't-
I'm just,
you
I was
can't do
I was
that.
trying to find a way.
Well,
that
wait
we
a minute, wait a minute.
No,
Well,
we can leave it out.
Just a minute. First
No.
First of all, right now, we're doing the student code of conduct.
Right,
When we address the issue with the others on here,
maybe after.
that we will address those specifically, you know. But right now, we're doing the student code of conduct for 23, 24. We've had parent input. We have some board members that have commented that, you know, it's time for accepting change and moving on. Some of these, so if we accept this, Dr. Arevalo, if that you want to make that recommendation that we need to put a statement in there indicating that the student code of conduct might differ with the athletic handbook or any other organization that have other requirements, including
No.
the cheerleader.
No, sir. No,
You
sir.
know,
No,
why
sir.
not?
No,
Why not?
because how are you gonna have one just specific to certain?
Because
certain
there's,
people?
there's,
No,
se-
sir,
there's,
no, sir.
there's separate,
No, sir.
The
set
same thing
guidelines.
with the
They're not
drug
separate.
testing,
They're
the same
still
thing
a
with the drug
student.
testing, it's only for athletes.
they're
They're still a
they're-
student.
They're still a student,
So
but
the
not
student
all,
handbook-
not all students are athletes.
The student handbook applies.
To all students.
Right.
But
You
in order
can't-
for you
no,
to
no.
become in athletics, there's
over-
certain different requirements that you need
Which
to
one
follow.
is, overrules what? The student handbook?
Student handbook supersedes.
Those are,
Yeah.
that's a tricky question,
Yes.
because, for
Yes.
example, when it
No,
comes.
you can't have that. No.
And let me just say something.
Just-
It's a tricky
No.
question because,
Just wait a minute.
okay, it's a tricky
yes.
question statement because, for example, you could do drug testing on only athletes, on only extracurricular students, and that's not necessarily all students. So there are certain exceptions. There are certain exceptions.
But that's not
Yeah,
gonna
really, they
fly.
are.
When you start getting parents complaining, hey, you know, why can my athlete wear long hair?
No, we're talking about beards.
Wear a
Let's
beard.
stick to beards.
No, sir.
Okay.
In long hair or
You can't
beard,
have two
whatever.
standards. All the schools have it, sir. The majority of the schools
Not
have
all
that.
schools have it, I'm
The
sorry.
majority,
I'm sorry, you're wrong.
the
You're wrong,
majority
not
of
all
the
schools
schools
have it.
have all this stuff.
Not
where
all, not schools have it.
athletes are out there, long hair and all this stuff.
No, not
and
all
shaven.
schools have it.
Yeah.
lot of
And
schools do.
and the coaches dictate a lot of those things. And, yeah, I
Is
I
this-
go to a lot of basketball games. Most of the basketball teams don't have long hair. It's a safety issue, definitely it's a safety issue in basketball. But anyway, that is the prerogative of the athletic department.
That is a prerogative of the parent.
No, it's not priority of parents.
Yes, sir.
No, sir, no.
we
Parents
get
cannot dictate how the school is run. That's for
So
sure.
we're gonna,
They
Can
can
we get
dictate
this
their
checked?
shells.
Huh?
Can we get, can we check with the attorney?
the beard,
To
that's
see
what I'm
if
saying.
it's
That's why,
legal?
that's why I suggested that I could bring this up later after I meet with the community again. I was only specifically discussing beards, get with the attorney on that and bring it back to you guys in
No,
the
no,
future.
like, we're talking about the student code of conduct being supersedes everything, because that's the main
I
thing.
can get you information on that.
You know,
Yeah.
can
But
we
that-
check
but-
on that?
Yeah.
If we're gonna do that, then just throw that, the cheer handbook away, and then they're not upheld to those standards. You know, that's gonna supersede everything. Why do we have a cheer handbook? Why do we have an athletic handbook? We
Well, I
have
thought-
those in place because they're held to different standards because they're different, they're student athletes. Or they're part of different.
Maybe they will provide clarity, so just changing it to a different thing. Think about the handbook for National Honor Society. There are guidelines and requirements for a student to be able and eligible to become a member of the National Honor Society. And I'm trying to take it somewhere else so that you can see how broad. So any student is allowed in school, any student can participate in every activity, but not every student can be in the National Honor Society, because in order to be in the National Honor Society, he has to follow certain criteria that make him eligible. So it is kind of like the same thing, because there are criteria. Now, the criteria can not overrule each other. That is true. But there will be different criteria for different organizations simply because they're dictating under different rules. FFA has their own rules. So for us to have an FFA team, a team or whatever, they have to follow the guidelines for the state of Texas for FFA. Now, so if in order for them to show up to a competition, it requires to wear a tie. Even though we don't require ties to school, do they still have to follow the guidelines that are national for that? And that's what I'm trying to say, because there are things that are national or statewide that already have specific guidelines that happen in order for those to occur.
Let me
So
pose-
consider it that way.
Let me pose this question. Can a student play sports if he's failing?
Nope,
Why?
because
Why not just let
it's
them
part
off?
of UIL.
Okay,
UIL
because of
has
UIL,
rules.
and that's another example.
It's also stated that since extracurricular is not a right, it's a privilege, that the standards could be, that athletes could be held to a higher standard than district student code conduct.
So we need to ensure that our standards are not violating UIL either.
That's why-
Yes, exactly.
So like I said, that's why I'm gonna leave that one alone.
And that's why, one last
We
thing,
gotta move on, because we got a long in the book. All I'm saying is that I'm gonna leave that one up for now. I'll go to the lawyer, I'll get involved, get you guys an answer for that. So my recommendation is to accept the student code of conduct with the changes I recommended, based on, for the 23-24 school year, Mr. President.
Okay, the recommendation's been made by the superintendent to approve the 2023-2024 student code of conduct.
I so move.
Motion by Joe Ramirez, is there a second? Is there a second?
I second it.
Seconded by Alejandro Perez. This motion is debatable and amendable, requires a majority vote to pass. Is there any other discussion?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
I would like for everything that we discuss, including hair, including earrings, including anything, there's gotta be some kind of guidelines or something to follow, you know. We just can't have the kids, just because he gets long hair means that he can wear his hair, in some kind of disruptive manner in the classroom. there's gotta be some kind of restrictions or some kind of guidelines for us to follow. You can't have earrings hanging from the lobe, 2 inches long, you know, maybe studs. I don't have any problems. I think the first time my son came with a stud, I kinda had a heart attack, but that's all right. But I said, you better not wear nothing else without a stud.
But that, you're seconding the motion as stated, but now you're adding all the stuff to it, sir.
No,
So how are we gonna do that?
You don't have to add anything. I'm not making a motion to add it. I'm just saying,
You just
we
make-
need to
it's just
look at the
discussion.
situation. We need to look at the situation because this is gonna happen.
Yeah.
This is gonna happen as an administrator of the campus, this is gonna happen. Well, my earring, you know, it has a cross in it, it might have the devil on it, so what are you gonna do? There's gotta be some kind of restrictions.
So,
Can he do
And-
both? Can he, remember?
any other discussion?
Can you rephrase the whole motion, the second, the way it was? Because I'm a little confused.
Okay, the motion was to approve the administration's recommendation to approve the 2023-2024 Student Code of Conduct. The motion was seconded.
I second the motion because I wanted this discussion, okay? And if we didn't have a second on the motion, I couldn't discuss it. That's why I did.
Yes. And so, and the motion is debatable and amendable, so he's discussing. So all his comment is only a discussion to that motion. Otherwise, they would have not been able to discuss that because it was lacking a second. Okay, any other discussion?
Yes, can he make the motion and second? Same person?
He didn't, Joe made the motion.
Joe
Joe made the
made the
I
motion.
thought Mr.
Joe
No, Joe-
Joe
I know a
Ramirez
little
made
more
the
public
motion.
than that.
No, I thought you, no, I
I
thought
know
you
a
had.
lot more
Oh,
public
I'm
than
sorry,
you
I thought
think.
you had done
More
it.
than you, that's for sure.
Oh, okay, now,
Mr.
now you know
Perez.
more than me. Really?
Yes.
Yes, the motion
Okay.
was made by Joe Ramirez and was seconded by Alejandro Perez. The motion was open for discussion, and Mr. Perez was discussing the motion as it is a motion that is debatable. Any other
Well-
discussion?
Yeah, I just want to make sure that, I mean, I understand some of y'all don't like change, think we need to do change, and that's it. I mean, you know, you say our athletes representative, they should be clean shaven and all that stuff with short hair. I mean, you see it everywhere, ladies and gentlemen, you know, our athletes are our athletes. You know, they're representatives, they're gonna represent us well regardless whether they have long hair or whether they're wearing a mustache, because that's where the discipline comes in, okay? It's where the coaches are for, okay? You teach them to be disciplined, to respect, and what you teach them on the field, you know, stays for a lifetime. Not, oh, you gotta shave, you gotta get a haircut, and you gotta tuck your shirt tail in. No, come on, okay? Our athletes will do what you tell them to do if they're well trained and well coached. Not, okay, you gotta shave, you gotta get a haircut. No, I don't think so.
Any other discussion? If not, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor to approve the 2023-2024 Student Code of Conduct as presented, please signify by raising your hand. 1, 2. All opposed, same sign.
I abstain.
2 abstaining, 1 abstaining, 2 against, 2 in favor, no action. Next item.
What happened with the voting there? I want to go back. I want to tally this correctly. I want to know what happened here.
It was, I was in favor. Let the record reflect that in favor was Board Member Valdez and Board Member Ramirez. Voting against were Board Member Gallegos and Board Member Nájera. And, oh, you voted against? Okay, 3-2.
Against the
3-2, motion
changes?
fails. Yes,
Oh, okay.
yes.
And they don't, the abstention goes in favor of the motion. That's the way Parker.
Well, it doesn't affect either one.
Huh?
It doesn't affect either one.
Okay.
Yeah,
You
it's
can
like a
do that?
neutral thing.
You made
So it
the
was
second
3.
motion but abstained?
Yes.
I would like the record, I'm not comfortable the way things were discussed with the outcome of the discussion. That's why it's hard, I really, to be honest, I'm a little confused. And that's why I'm not voting for it. So,
Okay, the motion failed. The 2023-2024 Student Code of Conduct is not approved.
Mr. President, I recommend we have a special meeting just to get this ironed out. And just a recommendation. Get it approved.
I agree, because we have to do something.
Well, we have school starting in
School starting.
another
Yeah.
week and a half.
We have a special meeting and
So,
discuss it.
I mean, that's what the wishes of the board were.
I guess the challenge is we can't vote on it until after school started now.
No, we
No,
can't,
we
yeah.
can have a special meeting. Oh, well, it
No.
doesn't start. That's fine.
One of the items, was part of what uniform, is dress code. Parents are getting ready to buy stuff for the new school year. So are we telling parents we're gonna be on
Did we not,
hold?
I thought I made the argument for the shorts, I made the arguments for the earrings, I made the arguments for the hairstyle.
Oh, that's fine.
And
I
then,
don't have
and no, but you just voted against it, so I don't understand what's going on.
I don't oppose any of it, I just don't want it to conflict with.
We left beard out, we just left the beards out, you know,
We
so.
need to take all that up, all the handbooks.
No, not
Athletic handbook, take it and make it mirror the student handbook.
The vote was 3 against, 2 in favor, motion fails. Next item, item number 7. Discussion and take possible action to approve a correction on legal EIA grading period for a 9-week grading period to a 6 weeks grading period. If you look on page 102, that is the only change for the legal EIA, and that's changing it to 6 weeks instead of 9 weeks. What is your recommendation?
I recommend that it's just a correction, there was a mistake in the old book that was never updated. It mentions a 9-week grading period, and all our grading periods are 6 weeks. So it's just a change to align it with our correct policy. I recommend we change it.
This was not ever corrected since the last time we had a
Right.
nine
Right.
period. Also move.
Motion has been made by Alejandro Perez. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Anthony Gallegos. This motion is debatable and amendable to, requires a majority vote to pass. Any discussion? If not, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor to approve correcting legal EIA grading period from 9 weeks to 6 weeks, please signify by raising your hand. All opposed, same sign. 6 in favor, 0 against. Motion passes. Item number 8, discussion and possible action to approve the 2023-2024 student handbook. Not the student code of conduct, but the student handbook. The chair recognizes Dr. Arevalo for any recommendation at this time.
I attached the student handbook with the changes on there as well. I dashed out all the things that need to be dashed out. And again, I added the things that I believe need to be updated. Do you have any questions about the things that are recommended for changes?
The only change that I saw when I was reading is, I know we, after a student misses 3 days, the computer spits out a letter, right?
Yes.
That is sent to the teachers, to the parents. Is there any way that we can put this in the handbook? We send out a letter on a 3-week basis for attendance, and then after that, we send one on what, 5 days or the next 6 weeks? I don't understand, but it's got to get a point where so we can say that after 7 days in one semester, the student becomes, I don't know what we say, truant or something. I don't know what we can say. But we got to get one way or the other. We need to inform the parents that we mean business as far as attendance is concerned. And I know we cover attendance very briefly, but we need to get a little more specific as far as attendance. Do you recommend anything, Miss? I think the student handbook that we have to be more specific on attendance.
Yes.
And I know that the computer spits out a three week, and after that it spits out what, every 6 weeks they spit out the attendance. The parents need to realize that attendance notice has to be taken seriously because.
Yes. Also, that's what when we come back and meet the teacher night, one of the things that we're going to discuss to start to build is the parent compact, which is the parents' compromise. And that needs to be included there because that it should be there. their trust, they're putting their children's trust in us. So, but they, in order for us to do what they want us to do, which is educate children, they need to be here. So they need to agree that in order for us to do our duty, children have to be here, and they have to bring them. I cannot every day pick up 50 absent children, and neither can anybody else. And it is a parent responsibility.
Let
And it
me
needs
ask
to
you
be
one
more
thing.
specific.
On the parent compact, that's something that I don't know how we can do it to make sure the parents really.
We're gonna
read it.
get some parents involved because we had a race program, Ms. Garcia and I. We're gonna get some parents involved. We're gonna use the newsletter to send some surveys out so they can give us input and get some parents to do it. But again, it is a document that is required because we're a Title I district. And we need to send it to parents. And most parents will send it back to us. They signed it, they agreed. But we need to make the effort, and I know I've spoken to you in the past, because we make the phone calls. My office staff makes phone calls. I know the high school staff makes phone calls. Ms. Rangel has done home visits. Ms. Benmea has done home visits. But we are abused when we do these calls. We are ignored. We are cussed out. So my request as a citizen, because right now I am a citizen of the Pryor, is that you, when parents, because you are an elected member to this community, when they call and discuss how horrible we are, that we are pounding them and we are calling them and we are demanding that they're here, that you also tell them, this is what I'm asking them to do. Because unless they hear it from you, because it is their right to tell you what they feel, but it is also your responsibility to let them know that you're going to listen to them. But you are dictating that you do X, Y, and Z. And if all of us sitting here are doing X, Y, and Z, we shouldn't be abused for doing the job that we have agreed to do. And we know it's important to do. So we need to, as a united front, it's not only the board and administrators. We're all gonna have the same language, and we all have to stand up to parents and tell them, this is what is expected. And again, kids will get sick, and you mentioned that earlier. They do get sick. But if a kid is absent 20 days and you have not taken your child to the doctor, you're a neglectful parent. Because after 20 days of being absent for sickness and you have never taken your child to a doctor, what are you doing to take care of the health of your child? And that's all the kind of the conversations that I need you to support us. Because I don't care, they can insult me all they want. But when they tell me, I'm gonna call my board and you're gonna take it away, then I don't feel supported. And it might be lies, but they're still saying it. They feel that they have the power to tell us when we call and expect the kids to be at school, and we say all these things, and we are nice and polite and all the things you have asked us to do. The last thing they end 75% of the conversations is, I will call my board member and you'll see a change. So it has to be all of us.
I'm gonna tell you right now, I don't care if they call.
I know,
They don't
but
call
it
me,
has to be all of us.
my phone is not available for them.
But they
That's
see
all.
you in the community, so.
No, and they try,
Thank you, sir.
they try,
Appreciate
because the first thing I tell them, that you go to your principal and you discuss this thing with your principal. But if you want a good teacher and you want to get paid well, then you have to have your kids in school. If not, don't even talk to me. And that's it.
And that's all I want to see. That's what we
I don't
want.
care if they don't vote for me.
The
anymore.
support.
But the parent compact, I think we haven't done it in,
Again, I started mid-year.
I don't think
it is
done
going
it
to
in a few
happen.
years.
So,
already discussed
let me get back on this because I want to stay focused. We got a lot to do. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Appreciate that. I'm going to go ahead and amend my recommendation because you guys denied the other one, so I have to deny this one too. Page 105. without holes in hoodies, I gotta take that out. Earrings, take that out. So the only thing, because I gotta make an announcement to the parents that we didn't make any changes to code of conduct, so in the
Dr.
dress code.
Rivera,
Yes.
I'm sorry. We
No,
cannot
you're not
accept,
taking it out.
Well, I was recommending the changes, but you guys denied it in the code of conduct, so
It was
therefore I
only
can't
one
put
but
it
I don't,
here.
I don't think we had problems with these things,
But you denied the other one, and that's what they were. And so now
but
I
the other
can't.
one had more things. Okay? This
Right.
one is just the earrings, that can be passed. I mean, that, I
That's a
don't think we had a
different one,
problem
like
with
you're saying.
that.
Are you sure? Because I don't want to create a conflict with one book says no and one book says no.
I
Yes, no.
agree with Arona. This is another
Okay.
item, and I'm
So
willing
I
to-
recommend that we accept the changes I recommended.
But as long
For our
as
students?
you have standards for something like that, you can't just say earrings and long hair and everything else. I mean,
Page 108 has using an alternative agreement upon assessment tool, because that one talks about graduation committees, but it talks about the IGC committee, but it doesn't say that they have to use an alternative assessment in order to be considered graduates. So I had to add that line to make sure that they are being told, it's not just a committee says you graduate, you have to have IGC project. So that's just expectation for the kids. So I recommend we accept the changes as indicated for
Can I
the
ask
the
you?
handbook.
I had asked you on the courses that are being offered and the weight chart, is that part of this? Do you have that?
Yeah, it's page 40, but those aren't being changed right now,
Okay.
or not being recommended for changes. When I spoke to you, and you brought it up, I think it's a good idea to look at these, but I'd have to look at Region 20 and the TA rules about how I could change those scale weights. Because it yes, sir, because it requires a waiting period, like you have to grandfather ones that already are through the process, so it's more like a 3 or 4 year process.
Okay.
So I am going to do it because you bring up a great point to look at those scales and those weights. But it's more a long-term project. It won't happen you can't approve it for like tomorrow. It's got to be approved as a
Well, I was asking also
So
for
yes.
the list of courses. Are we offering pre-AP courses? That was one of my questions. I know we're offering the dual credit courses, but pre-AP courses, are we offering that?
So one of the challenges this year, as we hired a lot of new teachers, to teach pre-AP or AP, you have to be certified in that course training.
Right.
And so one of our plans is, Ms. Garcia, do you have a plan, or Ms. Romero, do you have a plan to share with the board? Because you bring up a question about how we're going to train our teachers to be able to teach pre-AP or AP. What is the plan for that going forward that we talked about earlier?
We actually looked at that today, and me and Ms. Morero spoke about it. And typically, those summer institutes for pre-AP training of teachers happen in the summer. So, and at the high
It's
school.
like week-long trainings.
Right, right.
And they're all over the state and at universities in the state of Texas.
And courses.
Yes. And so what we're going to do is, and pre-AP is considered like a GT program at the high school.
Right.
So in order for us to be better, to be prepared for that for next summer, we've allotted some of our in the new budget, and speaking to Miriam, because we do get an allotment from the state on Tier 2 for GT purposes. And we are recommending $7,500 potentially to send 3 to 5 teachers. That's including the registration, of course, meals and hotels and travel expenses, so that we can send them, whether it may be, depending on which teachers would like to attend, and she's going to be speaking to them. It may be history, English, math, and potentially Spanish, to offer that for the 24-25 school year, to be prepared for that year.
So we don't have any then? this
Currently,
year.
no.
It's pretty sad.
Yeah.
So all our teachers that taught pre-AP courses are gone?
They were not certified.
They were not certified. So we didn't have them this year either then?
No.
Nope.
Oh, gosh. how
Not unless they
disappointing.
But we
came
want to bring it back.
Not unless they came certified from another district, But you have to go through a process, through the college board?
I believe.
It's College Board, yes.
Through College Board. I believe the last individual was Ms. Rodriguez, who had, I think she would teach if anybody was
The
here.
math.
The math
That
part.
was 2 years ago, yeah.
2 years ago.
So we're going to bring the program back, but we have to go send teachers to get trained on it. And we're going to train them, because we just hired them, we're going to train them so they can do it next year.
And then, of course, gradually increases the courses that we offer moving forward.
budget permitting, of course. I want to underline that too, budget permitting, because, you know, unless we get more state funding.
And one of the things that we did look at is courses that will actually impact any child that is attempting to go to college, so they can have those college credits earned before they get there. So that's why we did the Spanish, because Spanish is a required other language. We want to do a math, at least a science and a social studies. And we will increase, but again, it's a costly process. We cannot send everybody 1 year. We do 3 or 4, then next year we do 2 or 3 more. Every year we add, so we have a lot more people.
But the trainings happen in the summer.
In July.
Yeah.
And because you're talking about some kind of advanced courses
Yes.
where they go take it into like Crystal City campus has some high school kids that go into afternoon classes. Would have to supply some, you know, transportation and everything.
Yeah,
else.
it's a whole plan.
Yeah, it's a plan by itself. But I mean,
So none of our teachers teach the dual credit courses either, right?
Dual credit is offered by the junior college.
Right, but none of our teachers are certified. to
And
teach.
basically, it's adjunct, that the junior college provides the instruction and we have a teacher monitor the class.
But I know what you're going through, Ra, is the fact that you would like to see us to teach the course.
Oh, yeah.
And it would be a requirement that they have a master's degree
Correct. Yes, sir.
in the area that they're teaching. And I don't think we have any, do we have any people with a master's degree that's teaching? I know we discussed
One,
it,
maybe
that
one.
Canepa recruits teachers like that because they pay them like $9,000 above.
I know one of the teachers I did hire in 6th grade is working on her master's, so I do have at least one that is working towards her master's right now. That's what the MT, in the ag teacher has a master's, but I don't think besides her, they're both new.
Okay, the administration's recommendation has been to the board to consider the approval of the 2023-2024 student handbook. Now, with that said, and this is a comment regarding the item number 6 that failed. And one of the things, there was a comment or two, according to my notes, that the student code of conduct supersedes all the other handbooks. That was on the record, correct? Somebody said that. So the recommendation is to approve the student handbook, but yet we don't have the document that supersedes all the other handbooks that we're fixing to approve, because that one didn't pass.
I think.
So my point is that, you know, there are some changes that were recommended by administration. There are some technicalities on specifics. How specific do we want to be? And that is going to be up to after the superintendent consults with the attorneys, which is going to take some time. We're going to start school pretty quick. I mean, I would think that, you know, we always consider what is in the best interest of our students. And I think, and it is my opinion, and we can do whatever, but it is my opinion that we could should have approved the student code of conduct with potential changes as recommended by administration, but at least you have a document that we can start school on. That's what I'm saying. You know, and so, I mean, that's it. In other words, approving number 8, if it gets approved, you know, you still don't have the instrument that supersedes all the other handbooks, because that didn't pass.
Can I do my
Now.
opinion also?
Yes.
I didn't have an issue with any of those things. The only thing was the beard, and then that we're providing blades at a cost for $1. And what Ms. Ramirez said about you provide them something and they'll take it and they'll cut themselves.
Safety.
That's the only issue I had, and we need to streamline
But
the
Mr.
athletic
Vera,
one.
you're telling me the
athletic
other
one
points were
with-
sunk because of that beard issue? You sunk the shorts, you sunk the hoodies, you sunk the earrings, you
we
sunk
can
all
see.
the other points. All I'm saying to you is,
Yeah.
we gotta look at the big picture
Yes, sir.
and save battles for another day. So the beard, I didn't tell you it was done. I said I'll bring it back to the community and get them on board.
Yeah.
So I believe the board made a mistake when they did that vote, because I believe that the other things were so critical that I'm literally gonna have to go today on Facebook and tell parents that all those things we promised them are off the book. Short to know that.
Mr. Arevalo, I'm thinking there's some kind of confusion.
It's a misunderstanding. I
because
think
we
we're confused, is what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
We were in the same table a while ago on item number 7, and then, like you said, the confusion of the beard, because now, I mean, I was voting for 7, and 8 pretty much falls into play with that.
Right.
With the exception of the
Of the
beard.
assessment, yeah.
So I don't know if we can go back to item 7, even though it was slashed.
You mean item 6?
You mean 6,
Item
mean?
6, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
okay,
Item
'cause 7,
6.
yeah.
And that's the reason I brought item number 8 on the considering approval which is the point that you're making, that document that didn't pass supersedes everything else.
Because what I was hearing from that other side, and we're here, is they were in agreement, and then when it came to the voting, it just went away.
Right.
Because now I'm wanting to vote on number 8, and Mrs. Nájera, I'm thinking you're assuming, wanting to agree on that, I don't know.
Right.
So,
That's true.
that being said, and what Ms. Marrero mentioned earlier, people are going to go buy clothing for these kids, and now they're somewhat confused, and what are we gonna do now?
Right. Okay. This is the reason I brought it up, for that specific, letting one item go, and that way it starts to give you a little bit of, okay, what did we actually vote on number 6?
Correct.
Okay, that's why I went ahead and we took care of item number 7. Now that we're taking care of item number 8, which is very similar to number 6, okay, there's 3 things that can be done legally. Now, the motion that failed on number 6 was a main motion. According to Robert's Rules of Orders, there's 3 types of motions. There's a main motion, there's an incidental motion, and there's a subsidiary motion. The main motion is, it can be rescinded by Robert's Rules of Order, or it can be reconsidered, which means that it'll be brought up before the board again. However, you gotta have an item taking place before you can't, in other words, you can't bring it right away after that. That's why we voted on item number 7. So item number 6 is a main motion, so it is rescindable, and it is reconsidered. It can be reconsidered. The main motion is debatable and amendable, it can be reconsidered, and it can be rescinded. So legally, we can bring that back for the board for consideration. However, I can't bring it up. You voted in favor of it, right?
Yes.
So you can't bring it up. It has to be one of the 3 that voted against it. The prevailing group has to bring it up for reconsidering before the board.
Or myself too, that I.
But in your case, yours was,
Abstaining?
you abstained,
Abstained.
so therefore you're not on the prevailing side. See, it has to be on the prevailing side.
Can we vote on it?
Not even
again
to
then if we do
reconsider?
that?
The only way we can vote on it again is for somebody to make the motion to reconsider the motion that failed to not approve the 2023 Code of Conduct.
I'll make the motion.
And you have to indicate for the record that you voted on the prevailing side.
Okay, I'll make the motion. Reconsider. I voted on the prevailing side.
Okay, a motion has been made by Eloy Vera to reconsider the vote on item number 6, which was to approve the 2023-2024 Student Code of Conduct. Mr. Vera voted on the prevailing side. Is there a second?
I second the motion.
The motion has been seconded by Aurora Nájera. All in favor to reconsider the vote on item number 6, please signify by raising your hand. All opposed, same sign.
Abstain.
Okay, 5 in favor, 1 abstaining, motion passes. The motion now before the board is to discuss and take possible action on the 2023-2024 Student Code of Conduct. Does administration have a recommendation?
I recommend that we adopt the Student Code of Conduct with changes I recommended.
Okay,
Did you What were you gonna say
Discussion.
about that, you said with possible changes with the beard and that we talked about?
So, like I said, I never had included, it was never originally part of the recommendation. What I'm going to do is, I'm going to bring it back to the community, go to my lawyers, and bring it back to you guys again. Then next month, it'll be on there as an item for discussion, to amend the code of conduct then.
And we can ask, you can ask
Absolutely.
students also. If
Oh,
it's not
absolutely.
even an issue, don't worry
Absolutely.
about it.
No, I could have a whole town hall about that again, and get the lawyer's point of view again, okay? And make an item for next board meeting. Thank
Okay.
you.
Any other discussion?
Yes, I think the only reason that I can't even grab my,
You gotta take it, sir?
in my
Yeah.
idea and emergency.
Okay. So,
The only thing that I had as far as that concerned, and I keep going at it, when you look at, looking at all these issues like long hair and earrings, there's gotta be some kind of standard that we have to judge it. You can't just, we can't just turn it loose. We can't just turn loose long hair, we just can't turn loose beards and mustache and everything else and earrings. We just can't turn loose. If there's no, there's gotta be some kind of, just like my grandson, he has, they let him, and I don't let him, I get on him.
He's got
when
mohawk?
playing basketball.
Mohawk?
Well, he has hair here, like, not, but he has hair going up here, and I don't see how he sees because he has hair nearly any size. So when he plays basketball, he wears his hair like in a bun upstairs. And the only thing I
So-
can tell the
so-
coach, and I tell, Javi looks ridiculous with that long hair,
So what I'll do is, like I said, I'm gonna do a bark discussing the changes you guys approved. And the bark, I'll also have examples of what will be accepted, what won't be, okay?
That's good.
And then Ms. Barrero sent a newsletter again with the visuals of what will be acceptable, what is acceptable. You're absolutely right about that. If I don't say it, they might do it. So I understand that, and I'm going to support that 100%. I just am requesting that we approve the book as it is, and I'll take care of those limitations for you.
And the other thing, I think the handout that Ms. Barrero sent
Good,
out.
it works.
Was very self-explanatory as far as, I don't think
shorts.
parents should have any problems with the dress.
Right.
Because it was very self-explanatory, and even with pictures.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so with that said, and the final comment on this thing is that at any time, after the board approves it, any of these handbooks, all of these can be amended at any time. The recommendation only has to come from an administration saying, you know what, Mr. Pettis, you wanted specifics on hair, this is what we came up with, this is what the lawyer said we can.
And I want-
Then we
I
bring
want
it, we'll
specifics
put it on the
handbooks,
agenda.
Cheer handbooks, and, athletic handbooks.
The hierarchy.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
I'll get your information on that.
Yes.
Yeah,
And that way
the
we can-
hierarchy is.
I'll get your information on that.
Right, and so at any time, we have those,
As long as it's
we
in
can
the-
change it,
Okay, got it.
all right? So any other discussion? If not, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor to approve,
I make a motion, because he brought it back up, no?
well.
No, it's already-
we-
it's already-
we-
it's already-
After the motion to reconsider the vote, then it automatically becomes before the board. Okay, so the motion, let the record reflect that Mr. Vera made a motion to reconsider the vote. Ms. Nájera seconded, that passed. Therefore, the item was brought back for the board for consideration. So is there any other discussion? If not, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor to approve the 2023-2024 Student Code of Conduct as presented by administration, please signify by raising your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All opposed, same sign. 6-0, motion passes.
I do want to go on the record saying thank you, Mr. Veta, for changing that vote, because I think the community benefits from that decision you made. So thank you very much, sir.
Okay, next item is the student
We're back to eight.
handbook.
We're back to
Yes.
8. So I
We
recommend,
didn't have we did have a recommendation. Did we have a motion?
yeah,
I make a motion, we didn't have a motion on the break, because I was gonna make it.
Right. Okay.
I'll say.
Okay, motion has been made by Mr. Ramirez to approve the 2023-2024 student handbook, seconded by Mr. Vera. This motion is debatable and amendable, requires a majority vote to pass, and it can be reconsidered. Any discussion? If not, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, signify by raising your hand. All opposed, same sign, 6-0. Motion passes. Next item, item number 9, discussion and possible action to approve the 2023-2024 employee handbook. The chair recognizes administration for any recommendations on item 9.
Thank you, Mr. President. I opened it up for discussion on page 109, which is the employee handbook. There were some changes, and again, same thing, we scratched it out and we highlighted in color so you could easily see the changes we're recommending. It is adding certain things that make sense, like on page 110, instead of doing half-hour increments, which is very difficult for Ms. Ramos to handle, and scheduling just 1 hour of time at a time at the discretion of the supervisor. In blue on page 111, when a day is needed without planning, all staff upon returning to campus was entered in absence in your foyer no later than noon. All planned absences must be requested prior to the day needed to ensure we can provide a substitute. So the key word there is planned. If you're going to be sick, that happens. We discussed it before, that happens. But if you're planning it, let us enter the day before so we can get a substitute for you, right? And then the other one is, when you get back, you have to submit it right away. We've had leniency around that where people take their time, and sometimes it's like she's got to do payroll and then she's chasing staff around because they never submitted their time, and it just gets really out of control. So the requirement is the day you get back, you put it in. I don't think that's unrealistic to request that. And also, if you're planning to be out, let us know so we can get a substitute for you. On page 112, these are new expectations for staff. Again, this is just common practices that should be upheld in every district, right? Like take attendance daily and on time. Document all parent contacts. Actively participate in all trainings and professional development, which we have going on right now. Submit lesson plans 2 weeks in advance, no later than Friday. Just this first time, by the way. It's after that, it's just 1 week in advance. Submit a minimum of 2 grades per week per subject taught. In a 6-week grading period, 3 of those grades will be major grades, tests, quizzes, projects, etc. Non-exempt employees cannot accrue overtime without prior approval from the supervisors. That was also an issue that was going on previously. So, sorry, that's it.
Can I?
Oh, sure. I just had one more. Could I make the last one?
Is that the dress code right there? Do you have anything on dress code for staff?
Oh, yes, we're gonna, sorry. No purchase will be considered for approval unless it's submitted at least 10 working days prior to the date is needed. Exceptions will be made for UIL athletes. Dress code. The dress code is, they're supposed to represent, or they're supposed to model for our students. So, while it's not specifically saying things like that, but things like, if the skirt or shorts can't be too short, neither can adult skirts or shorts, right?
Same thing.
Right? So if kids can't wear tights, neither can adults, right? So it's supposed to be very similar. It's supposed to reflect leadership, right? Example.
Yes.
So I agree with you there. So this year when we have the training on Monday, we're going to address the dress code with all the staff, reminding them those expectations, how they are models for our kids. And so they can't wear those things that I just mentioned. Flip-flops, for example, can't have flip-flops.
Right. But we're not gonna have it in the book? Are you gonna add it on there?
It's in there already, but it's not a change, but I'll tell you.
Oh, it is there?
Yeah, yes, ma'am, but it's not a change, so that's why it's in there. So we're gonna reinforce it on Monday and remind them about that, because it says no flip-flops, no short skirts or dresses, no tights, or they call them leggings.
Holes on the pants.
I don't think teachers have gone that far, but if they do, I'll remind them on Monday they can't do it either.
Oh, they do. I know they do.
They do? Okay, maybe you've seen something I didn't, I apologize. So I'll bring that up to the teachers and staff, and all staff on Monday. It's in the book already.
Okay.
So these changes are just additions to kind of expectations, right? Because it wasn't in there, the expectation they had to have 2 grades in a week, and so we want to make sure that they are doing that so our students get the best possible results. So I recommend that we approve the changes to the employee handbook.
Okay.
Motion.
Most administration's recommendations for the board to consider approval of 2023-2024 employee handbook. A motion was been made by Eloy Vera to approve. Is there a second?
A second.
Seconded by Mr. Ramirez. This motion is debatable and amendable, requires a majority vote to pass, and it can be reconsidered. Any discussion? If not, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor to approve the employee handbook for 2023-2024 is presented, signify by raising your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All opposed, same sign. 6-0, motion passes. Item number 10, discussion and possible action to approve the 2023-2024 teacher appraisal calendar, and that is on page 16.
So, yes, sir, 116. 116.
116.
I want to share something with you. So, we do T-tests, right? And T-tests for administration. We created this calendar so you could visually see what days teachers will be observed, what teachers they can't be observed, what days we could do walk-ins. It's page 116, and it's color-coded and everything else. It also tells them the deadlines to when things have to be submitted. In the little box, it says 6 walkthroughs required for all teachers throughout the year, 6 walkthroughs in the classrooms. 2 formal observations, one in the fall and one in the spring. The one in the fall will be scheduled, the one in the spring will be spontaneous. Pre-conferences will be done 3 days before the walk and 3 days after it's done. So they get it right away to get the feedback. And so the last time that we got to turn everything in, I believe is May, the calendar shows it May, where's the calendar? May 10th, deadline. It's the last day that has to be turned in. Let's see it. So, the Friday, yeah, the 24th, the last day. That's when administration has to turn them in, because that's when you, right? Because I want to come, like I did last year. I want to come to you with recommendations for renewing or maybe releasing staff in time. But I don't want to bring it to you until we've done evaluations and made formal evaluations. That's the way it makes sense, right? And after the evaluation has been done, then I'll bring it to you. So this calendar is very detailed. I don't know if you've ever had one of these before, but I think it was good to create it so you guys could have it. So I recommend that we approve the calendar for appraisal.
The administration's recommendation is for the board to consider approval of the 2023-2024 teacher appraisal calendar. Motion was made by Eloy Vera to approve. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Joe Ramirez. Any discussion? If not, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor signify by raising your hand. All opposed, same sign. 6-0, motion passes. Item number 11, discussion and possible action to approve the 2023-2024 teacher appraisers, and they are named for you on page 118. Do you have any other additions or deletions at this time, Dr. Arevalo?
No, by state law, I have to show you and indicate to you who the appraisers are going to be. And appraisers this year are going to be Ms. Marrero, Mr. Rodney Bunsen, and Dr. Michelle Calderon. The certificates of evidence of their effectiveness are there. You see a certificate for all 3 of them. So you can see that they've been trained, properly trained in T-tests. And of course, we do calibration walks as well to make sure we're aligned. The calibration ensures that teachers get consistent feedback from all 3 of them. So, against that requirement, here's the information. Do you have any questions about?
You're gonna put yourself in it, in case a situation that.
Yeah, so I'm already certified in this,
Okay.
but of course, I will be doing walkthroughs, but I won't be evaluating them.
No, but I know that usually we do the
I'll go in.
superintendent, we will approve them with the idea that sometimes we have a situation of a
Somebody
staff member that
yeah.
needs help.
Okay.
Or somebody requesting a second
Yeah,
appraiser?
requesting a second appraiser or third.
So let me
appraiser.
go ahead and amend that then and add Dr. William Arevalo to the list. So I recommend that we approve the appraisal list, including Dr. William Arevalo, in case there is a second request of observation, or if there's anything comes up in emergency where I'm gonna have to step in and clear.
If somebody doesn't
Yes,
show up.
yes, secretary.
Okay.
Also move.
Okay, administration's recommendations for the board to consider approval of Mrs. Alba Marrero, Mr. Rodney Bunsen, Dr. Michelle Calderon, and Dr. William Arevalo as the appraiser list for 2023-2024. Then motion was made by Mr. Perez. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Anthony Gallegos. This motion is debatable and amendable, requires a majority vote to pass, and it is you can be reconsidered. Any discussion? If not, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor signify by raising your hand. All opposed, same sign. 6-0, motion passes. Next item is item number 12, discussion and possible action to approve the 2023, August 2023, for the public hearing for the 23-24 tax rate and budget adoption. I think we mentioned that to our audience earlier that are joining us in live stream to mark their calendars for that date. Now, this is going to become official if the board approves.
I make a motion.
Motion has been made by Eloy Vera, seconded by Anthony Gallegos to approve August the 23rd, 2023 as a date for the public hearing for the 2023-2024 tax rate and for the budget adoption. Any discussion? If not, we'll proceed to vote.
Do we have any idea about anything coming down from the state?
Since yesterday, no, sir. It's the same since yesterday. Nothing's changed. No, sir.
Any other discussion?
They're still, they're voting again in September, sorry.
Okay, any other discussion? If not, proceed to vote. All in favor signify by raising your hand. All opposed, same sign. 6 in favor, 0 against. Motion passes. Now it is official, and our public that is watching us live, you are cordially invited to attend at 5:30 for our tax public hearing on our tax rate and our budget. Item number 13, discussion and possible action to approve the 2023-2024 extracurricular handbook.
This is going to be presented by Mr. Baez. He has that for us, including additional information that he's going to share with you right now. He's going to make copies for you all to address what you approved earlier in the spring about the random drug testing for our extracurricular programs. And so he's got information on how he's going to conduct that, and hopefully you guys find that up to specs.
I apologize if it's somebody, I changed the settings and left it short instead of long. So
The whole book?
that is the drug testing policy.
Oh, the drug, no, I just,
That's on page 126.
yeah, but it's not complete, right?
No, that's only the changes.
And really, I did forget one change on the handbook. I did add, as per Mr. Veda's suggestion, we added then the lettering procedures for Special Olympics to be able to obtain a letter. And speaking to Mrs. Castillo, we said the requirements would be 2 years, and they'll get it as a junior so they could wear it as a senior.
So it wasn't my suggestion, it's a legal policy. That's what I have for you.
The lettering? Oh, I appreciate your light me. Thank you, sir. Yes, sir, thank you.
It wasn't my suggestion, it was policy.
No, I appreciate, thank you. All right, before you, as we had discussed before, and Dr. Arevalo, I apologize, reminded me we had approved the random drug testing. This is kind of what we're looking at, the policy. I've been speaking to Mrs. Ibarra from the clinic, and they're willing to do we could use them for a 5-panel drug test. And this is kind of what we're going to give our parents as to what we're looking at. It's going to be a random it's going to be random with every athlete being tested at least once throughout the year. And now the only thing we haven't talked about, I believe that when we do this, maybe in our best interest that the nurse conducts the drug test. So like that, there won't be any perception of conflict of interest as far as extracurricular, myself or whatever. I think that is in our best interest that she could conduct the testing, and she could select we could now with Google we could get a randomizer and just get it's 5 to 30%. We want to do it every 6 weeks, and it has the infractions which go with the handbook, as far as first offense, second offense, third offense. If you look at the first offense, we're looking, a student shall be suspended from extracurricular activity for 40 days following the date that the student and parents are notified of the test results. And during the suspension, well, I have it here, the student shall not be permitted to participate in practices or competitive activities. And they will also be required to undergo proof of 4 hours of mandatory counseling within 30 days. And then
Is the counseling going to be in-house, or is the
I
parents going
think
to handle that?
the parents will handle the counseling. The parent, I believe it should be up to the parents to take care of the counseling. Then we go on with the second offense, which would be 60 days. 60 days, and it's just going to progress from there. And with that, it'll be 15 hours of mandatory counseling within 60 days. Third offense will be 80 calendar days. And, I'm sorry, I did miss something. In the second offense, during the first 14 days of suspension, the student should not be permitted to participate in practice or competitive activity. The remaining 46 days of suspension, the student may practice. And I believe this is important because we need to have them with us. If we just cut them loose, then we cannot guide them. We cannot help them grow, and we cannot guide them. So they'll be practicing, but they cannot participate in games. But it still allows us to be part of their lives, you know, and they're with us instead of walking around, running around in the streets, you know, being nameless. And we'll progress to the third offense, which will be...
Coach Valles, can I ask you a question?
Yes, sir.
In every offense, they're going to be receiving counseling, right?
Yes.
Okay. And
Yes, yes.
I think that's more important than anything else.
Yes.
That if they continue doing this, then we have to refer them to another counselor, another type of counselor.
Yes,
either a drug
exactly.
counselor or
And then we go with the third offense, which would be 80 days. The fourth offense, the student shall be suspended from participation in any extracurricular activity for the remainder of the student's enrollment in the district. Basically, they'll get kicked out. But, you know.
Of sports.
Of extracurricular, yes, sir.
Sure, yeah.
And it's progressive, but I believe in the progressive method because, as I told you when we've, and I believe I mentioned this in the interview, I'm not going to give up on a kid right off the bat. We're going to hold on to them as long as we can, because without us, you know, and we understand that our young men and women need this program more than we need them, because we're going to go on if somebody's not playing. But sometimes we're the only guidance in their life, and I believe that we should serve as that guidance. So we're going to hold on to them as long as possible. But at a certain point, you know, we're going to have to make that decision. This will be presented, and once we approve the student handbook and this, we will be having an athletic parent meeting on August the 2nd at 6:30. We'll start promoting that, and we'll go over the random drug testing policy, and we'll go over the handbook again and kind of emphasize what were our points of emphasis.
Now, only question that I have, Coach, is some participants may or may not let you know, and I don't see a provision in here, but if they are taking prescribed medication, and sometimes some of those might show up on a random test.
Okay.
There has to be an exemption somewhere where there those, you know, because they might not tell you they're on prescribed medication, and if they're not, and you test them and they test positive, but hey, you know, I'm taking.
No, I agree. We could add that to it, and I'm not sure, but I'm sure the testing coordinator would ask those questions, but we could put that in there too.
When I read it, I did see somewhere where you said that there'd be a second test of the material. So
yes.
So if a student pops positive, he could then, or he or she could then say, "This is what's happening, coach," and then they'll test it again for that.
Yes, but I'll make sure we could incorporate that. The one thing I did forget.
On page 3 and the bottom it says, "Initial positive test shall be done."
The one thing I did forget, if a student fails to take a test or or is absent, it'll be, it's an automatic positive. It will be an automatic positive. Yes,
What kind
sir.
of test is it? Is it
It's a I have it here. It's a 5-panel test. Or where do I have it? I know because we saw it. Yes. Oh, here it is. It's on the bottom of page 2. The drug testing laboratory should administer a 5-panel test, which tests for the presence of marijuana, cocaine, opiates, amphetamines, methamphetamines, and PCP.
Now, that doesn't have for like steroid use or anything like that?
It doesn't. I think that would fall under a 7-panel test. If you're more comfortable with that, I could.
I'm fine with this.
Okay.
I know they do that later on in other competitions. But
Yes.
I was just wondering what it covered.
Yes.
Okay.
That would be good, to add steroids.
Okay, I'll ask about a 7-panel. I'll inquire about a 7-panel test. Okay.
If it's legal.
Just to interrupt you so real quick.
That goes for
Yes,
rural, too.
The policy does state on page 4, provide a medical explanation for positive.
So they get a chance to explain it.
Yeah.
So did I understand correctly, if a student, after the 4th offense, the student can no longer play for the remainder of his life in the Pryor ISD? If he's a freshman, he can't ever play again? It's 4 years?
Well, if it's a 4th offense.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
So that's for the 4 years in high school?
Yeah, that, based on what we have here, yes.
If we could change it, you guys want to change it, we could make those amendments and make it less. That's why he's presenting it to you guys, the feedback.
Yes.
But if you don't recommend anything, he's gonna approve this.
But the only thing that's missing is something I had is counseling, you know. We have counseling
Yes,
every
it's built
time.
in,
Yes, sir.
every time.
Every time.
Yes, sir.
It-
And
it-
I think the
It's
hours
not just about
increase.
punishing, it's about helping them get over this.
Helping,
Yes,
helping.
yes.
Yeah,
Helping the child.
yeah. It goes back to said it's not about trying to get rid of kids. It's about trying to be there to help them out.
Yeah, I'm just a little concerned about, freshmen, freshmen will do so many things, but they do mature, maybe 2 years
Oh,
versus
that's-
4,
if you get
depending
that-
on their grade level,
Okay, I have no problem with that. That'll be
And
fine.
maybe we should add a statement like that they have the right to appeal the decision after the 4th, after the 4th.
After a year, maybe, or 2.
You can add an appeal
And
process.
it's spread out already. I mean, you got like 80 calendar days, you got 66 calendar days, so it's not like they're gonna get tested 4 times in 1 month.
Right.
So
Right.
it's already kind of extended.
But like if it's their freshman year,
Yeah.
and they mess up their freshman year.
So they could mess up their freshman and sophomore year.
The what?
Not- Theoretically, probably not their
Yeah.
freshman year, but
So can we limit it to like a 2-year maximum?
We
of-
can.
Of
That'll-
elimination from
that's-
sport?
if you-
probably a 2-year maximum.
And they could come back again after 2 years?
What?
Would that be okay with you,
Yes.
Coach?
Totals, you're already on year 2.
What's
I know, but we say officially after 2 years, you can come back again. Would that work for you? 2 years?
that'll be fine.
I just don't want to carry it out too much, you know? I mean, the kids are
I
gonna
mean, it's
receive
already
counseling.
progressive as it is.
The kids are gonna have receive counseling, that's my deal.
Yeah, that's
I
done.
feel that
Yeah.
the kids, after the first and second year, they're receiving counseling for like, 8 months, and I hope to God that they change their mind, you know?
Yeah.
And if not, they're gonna create a problem in the field house. That's what happens.
Well, in the first offense and the second offense, like you're saying, I mean, if they complete all the counseling in those first 2 offenses, technically, they should never make it to level 4.
Yeah, that's 19 hours, that's
The
19
counseling
hours
should
of
prevent it.
counseling.
Counseling should prevent
That's
it.
what he's saying too.
So, I mean,
It shouldn't be a second,
Yeah.
or none at all.
Let's hope none at all.
None at all.
None
And
at
I
all.
don't think we have any
So
students that have
we're-
any problems like this.
The instruction.
Go ahead, Coach.
Go ahead.
Okay. No, but we can, 2 years should be, I'm good with, we could go a 2 year, because even 2 years is, it's 50% of your high school career, so that's still steep. If you guys are
It's like
amenable to that, I'm fine with that.
Any changes to the curriculum, extracurricular book that you want to point out?
Like I said, I added the really, we didn't have any issues as far as the handbook last year.
Good.
And we followed it. We had kids that were suspended. They missed practice, they didn't play. For the most part, our kids did a good job as far as now. We had kids that we had to take care of. We had to run extra, and so on. But really, I think as far, because it is pretty detailed, and we have minor consequences. If you look at it's 23 pages, and we break it down pretty much as to what the consequences are.
Is this on the website as well?
It was last year.
Rocky, is this on the website?
It was, and we'll put it, once it's approved and we give it to the kids, we'll put it up on the
Because
website.
I'll make sure everything gets transferred over to the new
Yes.
website. We don't lose anything.
'Cause,
Everything
no,
needs to be up to posted.
I have it in
Okay.
PDF form. I believe we did put it up last year on the website. Because I put up all the UIL forms on the website last year as well.
Good, thank you.
So that's your recommendation, Coach?
My recommendation is that we approve this handbook.
This gonna be locally done at the clinic?
Yes, sir. Ms. Ibarra is the coordinator for this clinic, yes.
Recommendation's been made for the board to consider approval of the 2023,
Mr. Vera had a
2024.
question.
He has a question, sir.
Can I ask some questions before we move to that? Because I called Mr. Marrero, I thought the whole book was here. And I called him,
Mr. Moreno?
no, I called you.
Oh, me? Oh.
Yeah, remember I called you?
Okay.
So, that's Marrero, what did I say?
It's okay. It's okay. That's what happens. That's what happens. Oh, gosh.
She owns the house, she owns the
Oh, gosh.
Anyway,
I can't even say nothing. I just keep quiet.
the FM legal covers student activities. Since I didn't have the whole book, I don't know if you have anything about, it says provide each student, participant, and student's parent or guardian a copy of the text of Education Code 33.201-33-207. Is there anything mentioned about that
As far as,
in your book?
I know what specific, what's the wording?
It says that you provide each student, participant, and the student's parents or guardian a copy of the text of Education Code 33.201-33207. I can give you this, so you don't have to write it down. Because there's
Okay.
other things. I don't know if it's in your,
Well,
It's the education code. You're talking about the education code,
Yeah,
you're not
but it
talking about
says-
athletic code.
for athletics, yeah.
Yeah.
It's gotta be provided. Now, isn't there a training that has to be conducted for athletes that participate in contact sports,
a training as far as what? No.
about contact sports?
For athletes?
Yes,
No,
that
no, sir.
participating in contact sports.
No, sir. I know as coaches, we need to get certified as far as tackling and teaching new methods of tackling because,
Yeah, that's
yes, but
contact
there's no,
sports.
there's no requirement for training
There's
for
not,
athletes.
no training required.
No, sir.
For them, yes.
No,
For the coaches, not.
For coaches,
no,
yes.
there used to be for the students, that's why I'm asking, has it changed?
No, sir. In 28 years, we've never,
No?
no, sir.
Yeah, it used to be in, thing. Now, have we appointed or approved a concussion oversight team? Do we have that?
No, we don't have that.
We,
The coaches are trained.
Part of
we-
the policy.
Well, the coaches are trained to
Yeah, no,
determine
but-
that.
Yeah,
all
but
right.
say approved.
We don't, but because the trainer we bring in every week, we send them to a doctor. An outside doctor is the one that clears them. We don't play them until we get a note from your personal doctor
Okay,
that they're cleared.
here's the policy. The board of a district, the students enrolled who participate in an interscholastic athletic activity shall appoint or approve a concussion oversight team. Education Code 38.153A. Okay? This is policy that I took out of our policy manual that's online, gentlemen.
Is there a date on that?
So that's what I'm saying, I mean, no, it's the one that, it's on the It's only,
We could do that.
But what I'm saying is that they're trained to determine
I
concussion.
understand, sir, but policy says appoint or approve.
But we could say he's appointed.
Okay, all you gotta
Yeah.
do is appoint somebody.
I mean,
That's, yeah,
Who-
that
who
is,
deter- Who determines, let's say a hit happens, I'm just asking a general question here. Hit happens, kid gets hit, he falls down, is groggy. Who determines whether the kid has a concussion or not at that moment?
during the game,
Yeah,
Okay.
or in practice, right?
our trainer.
Yeah, but that's what it says, that's all it is, the policy, I
No,
just read you the policy.
that is
It
a
says
reason.
to approve or appoint, so that's, you give
Well,
us a name.
What we
it's
have had
approved.
here, Pryor, is, I think UTSA, right? Will we go with subcontract with UTSA?
Methodist Health,
Ah,
Methodist Health.
Methodist Health.
And we do have a trainer on
We
the
have a
sideline
trainer,
every
certified trainer
game.
that comes in
I understand that.
and works with our kids.
I just read you the policy, and it's a legal policy, that's all I'm saying.
So we're
Okay.
covered.
It's
Not if it's
That's
not
it.
appointed or approved.
Yeah.
If we appointed it,
Oh,
it needs to be, it says the board. Okay. So, okay, next question.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. It's
Yeah.
a policy that was implemented, I believe, last year. It is a recent policy and, you know, but like I said, we have trainers on the sideline. We, as coaches, we do not get involved in any decision during the game for football as far as concussion. Because even on the JV games, we have ambulances, paramedics and ambulances on standby for those games.
Yeah, that's what the policy says to appoint or approve. Now, the next question, do you mention anything about homeschool students in the,
No, that's.
Not in our,
That's a law now. You
no,
can-
well, not in our athletic handbook, but that's up to our superintendent.
It's the law.
but shouldn't it be in
Yes,
in
but,
one of the?
but that's not like up to, nobody's questioned that. If you are a homeschool student, whatever district you live in, you could play in that district. That's just the law.
That's the law, they
Yeah.
can.
Yeah.
Yes,
In the
yes,
district they live in.
yeah, but they have to live in La Pryor.
Right.
But the parents, do they know about it? Do we have it in one of the manuals? So,
Okay,
they can look it
we
up.
could
So
add
you're
it.
saying add that, go ahead and
I
add
could
that,
add
it
it.
makes sense?
Yeah.
Go ahead and
Yes.
add the statement.
That's
But
fine.
I've only had one parent call the whole time I was here,
Right,
and I
but-
told the parent, yeah, bring him in, he can play.
Yeah, but their
And-
primary residence was Crystal City.
Yeah, so then they can't. So
That's-
then you gotta play
that
in
was
the
the
city.
problem.
No, I understand, all that is in there, but,
Yeah, no, we could add that, that's
I'm just
for
asking.
certain. Yes.
I mean, you're
A place
presenting
for
us with
parents to
a,
Absolutely.
go and get that
We
information.
have
That's
two
fine.
students for Crystal City last year that wanted to come play basketball. And
They were homeschooled.
they were homeschooled, so
But they
they
couldn't.
went
because they lived
to,
in
well, they never showed up. They
Yeah.
showed up for practices a couple of times, and they decided they were gonna go to Uvalde or something like that. But they were kinda
Yeah,
jumping around.
but the rule states
Yeah.
that they have to be within the residence
Correct.
zone.
yeah,
That's
it's
what I told
it's
them.
there,
Yes.
clear, cut and dry. I'm just asking if it's in any
We
of
could-
our
I-
manuals.
No, what?
I
don't
could
have
add
it.
it in the handbook, that's not an issue.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's all
sir.
I'm saying, that's.
No
we read
problem.
that.
No, we agree.
Okay.
That's good info.
I got a question, and it's because it's, LeBron James' son just,
The cardiac arrest,
had
yeah, he had a cardiac arrest.
cardiac arrest. And I just, do we train ourselves on the defibrillator?
Yes, sir. As a matter of fact, today, the coaches that were certified, we got recertified for CPR and AED and first aid. And our new coaches, Ms. Fraso's going to do the training tomorrow for CPR, AED, and first aid. Because we're able to work it out that she could take care of us tomorrow. So before our first practice, because we're going to do it August 8th, we had been discussing that, trying to set up a date for the recertification.
So our ambulance carries a defibrillator in the ambulance?
Yeah, all
that's
ambulances have
automatic.
defibrillator.
But we have them too.
But by the same token,
Because that's the first one that goes in
yeah,
there.
by the same token, by state law, we have a AED in the gym, in the weight room, and every coach knows where it is, so we could get it when necessary. And
At offices too.
every
Both
location
offices.
that we play at will have a temporary portable AED. Yes, sir.
But this heat, that's what I worry about, is this heat, golly, is so hot for our kids and practices.
Well, yeah, that's right. It's important that we we do take water breaks, and that 25-gallon cow helps out a lot.
Mr. Baez, once you add the statement about the school.
Homeschool?
Yeah, district in homeschool, send me the page and I'll forward it to the board members.
Yes,
okay?
sir.
Thank you. Okay.
One more question, Mr. Ruth. I didn't, like I said, I didn't, see the whole book, that's why I'm asking.
Well, I think the idea was just change this, because it's the same exact board that we approved last year.
That's where my questions were coming out of this legal
Yes.
policy is there protocol in your book about what happens to an athlete if he has a concussion or cardiac arrest? What are the procedures to bring them back?
Well, it goes back to he has to get cleared by our doctor.
Yeah.
Okay. We don't even think about playing them because the situation is, and that's why like a lot of times it's good that we bring a trainer, because even for a young man that let's say he sprains his ankle in practice and it's a slight sprain, and the parent takes him to the doctor, and the doctor gives us a note that says 2 weeks no activity, then regardless whether he's healthy or not, we will not play him until that doctor clears him or the 2 weeks are up.
Yeah, but my question is it in your manual?
We could put it that it's be cleared by a doctor. I'm fine with that. That's not a problem.
Because if the parent's
just
going to
need
read
to-
that manual, they'll know, okay.
Trying to
this
cover
happens.
ourselves.
No, that's not a problem. But because I know when we talk about it, this are conversations I do have with the parents when we do our meeting. I'm always going to be as transparent as possible with the parents.
That's good.
And with everybody.
Thank you, Mr. Baez.
Mr. Baez, you can have this. That's where all those things, I don't think, all this stuff is in there.
Sir, and this is for boys and girls, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So the recommendation is for the board to consider approval of the 2023-2024 extracurricular handbook with recommendations that were presented. Do I hear a motion to approve? Motion by Joe
Second.
Ramirez, is there a second?
A second.
Seconded by Anthony Gallegos. This motion is debatable and amendable, requires a majority vote to pass, and it can be reconsidered. Any other discussion?
Yes, sir. Just want to add about the streamlining of the handbooks. I understand we discussed, they gotta be clean shaven and all this stuff, that we can look at that further, that's all.
The legalities.
Any other discussion?
Your recommendation or his recommendation was to change it for the second testing or from four to two?
The changes that Mr. Veras recommended about the doctor, the students can play in the school district they live in, and that the 2-year limit for them to be able to play again.
Okay.
Yes. Those are changes.
Any other discussion? We'll proceed to vote. All in favor signify by raising your hand. All opposed, same sign. 6-0, motion passes. Item number 14, discussion and possible action to approve TASB risk management insurance. This is a routine type of thing that we do every year. So do we have any additional information on that, Dr. Arevalo?
Miriam has the information and the approval of the risk management. She attached the copy is simply our insurance, renewing it with the deductibles on there.
So this is are y'all on page 137? Right. You can see the policy.
135.
You're on 135? Okay. So I was going to lead you to page 137 so you can see the rates on there. They have gone slightly up from last year. Last year we had, for example, for property, it was a contribution of $54,601. It has now gone up to $67,848. The automobile liability with a deductible of $1,000, the deductible remains. but the contribution has gone down. Last year it was 37.37, and now it's 36.18. So we did see a little savings there. Moving on to automobile physical damage, we have 3,301 from last year, and it has gone up to 3,478.
So total
Next.
insurance debt is 120, is that what you're saying?
Yes, so the total is, has gone up to 120 from 103. 103,484. That's what it was last year. So we have seen.
And next page, you see the deductibles for all kind of damages. It says weather perils, 5,000, flood, 50,000 deductibles. Those are kind of steep, kind of tough. That's why earlier this year when there was that big wind, you remember, and it tore up the shed? I was trying to get the insurance to come and look at it, but when they told me it was a 50,000 deductible, I was like, don't worry about it. I'll take off the shed myself. And that's what we did. So some of these deductibles are pretty high, but
Have we done a comparison between TASB and an insurance company?
we could try it. We could look around, shop it around. We're shopping around a lot of other things. We could shop around insurance too.
You know,
We could look at it.
We could do that,
Even
yes.
when we look at like electricity, you know, a few years
yeah,
ago,
we're still
it was
looking.
very different, you know, it was different. It was a whole lot cheaper
Yeah.
to go with our own company instead of going to TASB.
Yeah, we're looking at everything, so we'll add this to our list of things to look at for sure.
Okay.
But for now, your recommendations for the board to approve the TASB risk management insurance,
Yes,
correct?
that's our insurance. We gotta keep our insurance going, so I recommend we continue using TASB as currently stated. And I'm just sharing with you guys that we'll look around for something else.
Chair will entertain a motion to approve.
So move.
Motion by Joe Ramirez, seconded by Alejandro Perez to approve the TASB risk management insurance. This motion is debatable and amendable, requires a majority vote to pass, and it is reconsiderable. Any discussion? If not, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, signify by raising your hand. All opposed, same sign, 6-0. Motion passes. Next item is item number 15, discussion of possible action to approve the contract between Pryor ISD and Base Achievement Center, Inc. Dr. Arevalo.
Yes, this is again going to be brought up to discussion by Ms. Castillo, our Director of Special Education. It is about one of our students and one of the organizations that we have a contract with. Ms. Castillo, please stand at the podium and so the parents can hear you, community can hear you.
Good evening. So we have a student that is placed in a residential facility. This was placed out of a, it was a due process hearing that was done a few years back, and the student was placed in the residential facility, as y'all know. So every year, the requirements once a student is placed in a residential facility is that the student, we must have a reintegration plan. So the student must earn his way back through behaviors, correction, that, and then we also have to earn him coming back. So we have to improve our facilities. We have to provide him the type of support that he's receiving at the residential facility. So we had an art meeting for this student, and I'm not going to go into details because it may violate FERPA, but the decision of the art committee was to continue the placement. Because one, the goals have not been met completely for the student, and the school district does not have the facilities right now and the type of supports that he needs. So, so it's a requirement that we provide this student a residential facility right now as part of his art committee decision. So, do y'all have any questions on that?
How old is the child now?
He will be turning 18 in December, and he will, the placement, the art committee can continue the placement up to 22. So
22 years.
up to 22. The facility that he is in receives students up to 22.
Are we forced to?
Sir? Ma'am, I'm sorry.
Are we forced? to
The
continue
art
until-
committee makes the decision, yes. It's an art committee decision. Now, that particular residential facility is not
the requirement. The placement is the requirement. Yes.
Have
So-
we begun to consider, I think it's a good question to ask, have we considered looking around for facilities that
Different
might be
facilities.
closer, that might be more in line with our district, that might be more feasible for you to go and see what's
To
going on?
visit, yes.
Maybe it's time for you to look at other options.
It may be, and this was, again, this was the decision that was made by that art committee, and the placement, and that particular residential facility was, I don't know why it was chosen, but it was chosen. There are very few, you do need to understand, there's very few that are residential facilities for the type of needs that this student has. So, that is, the only problem is that, you don't have very many here in the state of Texas. There's even farther than Houston or Huntsville. So, yeah, it's.
Do you have any idea if there's a facility to do a transition between the 18, when he reaches 18 years old, to transition into another facility?
A different type of facility, or one similar to this one?
One similar, because I know
Similar.
what his handicap is.
Yeah. Yeah,
it's
it's
hard to
severe.
deal with.
Yeah. Not that I'm aware of. When I was looking at different facilities last year, there were very few that were going to offer the residential facility where he's there all day, he has a home, that he lives in, the types of services that he receives. They're very intense, and so we're not capable of doing that right now. We spoke to the director at Bays when we were having the art meeting, and one of the things that's going to also present a problem for us is the transitioning, because we are 6 hours away, and for the student to transition, he actually has to come into our district, into our campus, go back, come in, go back, and that's going to be happening every couple of days. That's just not possible. So one of the that suggestion that we move him closer is a good suggestion, but one that I don't know is possible because of the limits in the number of facilities in the area.
Do we have separate funding for that?
So there is a high cost fund that we apply for at the beginning of the year. We have not gotten the high cost funds, but we get the discretionary, the idea be discretionary, which covers about 75%.
Yeah.
So.
Is this the same cost, $259,000 at the beginning when he first started?
No,
Or has it gone
no.
up?
Every year, like everything, it goes up.
Do you remember what it was at the beginning?
I think it was about $25,000 less.
So about 10% less?
Yes, about
So then
10%.
the recommendations for the board to consider approval of La Pryor ISD and Base Achievement Center for a total of $259,802.18.
Because currently the way the
For
law
the
stands,
duration,
yes.
yeah, from
Requirements.
8/1/2023 to 7/31/2024, correct?
Yes.
Okay. That's your recommendation?
Yes, because again, we don't really have an option at this point.
Right. Okay. Chair will entertain a motion to approve.
I so move.
I'll second.
Joe Ramirez has made a motion, seconded by Anthony Gallegos, to approve the contract between La Pryor ISD and Base Achievement Center. This motion is debatable and amendable, requires a majority vote to pass. Is there any other discussion?
I just have a question. Ms. Castillo, I know, did the court basically tell us how long we have to keep this child enrolled?
Until we meet the requirements of the reintegration plan. So there are goals that are set for the district and goals that are set for the student. And if the student doesn't meet the goals at the residential facility, isn't able to come back. If we don't meet the requirements of the reintegration plan, then we can't get him back. So we both have to be able to receive each other successfully.
So definitely we're not stuck on 2 years.
At 22, he loses his public school, eligibility. Yes.
But we still could be able to, we could still be having enroll even after 22
No.
years, right?
No, everything ends at 22, yes.
Okay, all in favor, signify by raising your hand. All opposed, same sign, 6-0. Motion passes. This next item is for information only, and this is an update on the ESSER federal funds by Ms. Claudia Garcia.
Good evening.
You all received an item that I submitted to you this afternoon, and Rocky will be sharing it for the community to view.
So is this planning for federal program applications?
Yes.
Okay.
So basically, it's an overview of what we're working on for the upcoming year in reference to federal funds and grant applications that I'll be submitting here in the next couple of weeks to TEA. And it's just a list of the entitlements for the 23-24 school year. And the first one is the ESSA grant, which is the consolidated grant, which under that umbrella is the Title I program. And for this upcoming year, the planning amount is the $292,172, $292,172. And some of the activities that we've worked on in the past year, and also Dr. Calderon will be helping me with a needs assessment along with our principal, Ms. Marrero, to ensure that the activities that we utilize these funds are used according to what is allowed by statute. And some of those activities are listed there. We're going to pay some teachers and paraprofessionals for intervention strategies. We're going to be revamping and improving our library by buying books and bringing it up to speed for this, for reading, specifically at the elementary and the high school. Summer school initiatives will be used. Some of the funds will be used for that. Also supporting our pre-kinder program, parent-family engagement, supplemental instructional resources.
Can I ask you
Yes,
a question
sir.
on this? That's a past program, right?
Yes, that's correct.
How many parents do we have enrolled in the past program?
I think what was enrolled last year was about 17, and they had 85% participation.
When we first had it here, we had a problem getting parents enrolled, and what we did as a strategy is we got the teachers to recommend students or recommend to parents that those children and the parents go to that festival.
I believe that is still the process. The individual that works with the agency comes out and receives recommendations from the counselor, Ms. Rangel, and teachers' recommendation of who they recommend, what
We
students.
never had any problems having so many parents, we had maybe 50 parents.
In next month's board meeting, I will provide you what happened. They provided me with a booklet of everything that happened, the activities and the participation and who came. So I'll provide that for you next.
Who's in charge out of prison?
They recently made a change. The individual that was here for a while took another position in San Antonio, but the individual in charge that came to visit me this past week is Alejandra Castro she oversees the program, but there is new people that will be assigned to La Pryor. I do not know who that individual is at this time.
Well, I think that's the whole key, because we had a real good parent. I call them parents. They would come in and work with the parents, and then come visit parents sometimes by themselves. And
yeah, it was Diana Guerrero who was the individual, and
Guerrero.
she took another position with the agency, but in San Antonio.
Oh, she's in San Antonio now?
Yes, promotion. Yeah, she got a promotion.
Yeah, that's a good person. Really, really good person.
Some other initiatives with Title I are services to homeless students. We're looking into purchasing some kits, so the counselors can have at their disposal if they identify students that are homeless and need toiletries and things of that nature, and of course instructional supplies and materials. Title II, that is our professional development grant under ESSA, and the entitlement for this upcoming year is $23,435. And of course, we utilize those funds for professional development and educator growth, and any evidence-based activities that we find that need to be funded within this program. Title IV, that planning entitlement is $23,682. And basically what the district does, or what we recommend, is we redirect 100% of those funds to Title I under the REAP transferability option that TEA or the Department of Ed allows us to do. And it is allowed under statute under the Department of Ed. We do get other program money, but it's under the amount of $10,000 or in cents. And what we do is we partner with Region 20 as part of a shared service arrangements. And for those programs, it's our migrant education program, our English language acquisition, EL, and our career and technology goes through the service center. So each program it's part of the co-op, and Region 20 is the fiscal agent, so they get the funding, and then we receive services from the service center in reference to those 3 programs. The other grant that I'll be working with Ms. Castillo is our special ed grant. For this upcoming year, we're receiving roughly about $103,000, and our IDEA preschool is $7,200. So some of the activities that we're looking at funding is some teachers and our paraprofessionals within that program that service our students, some professional development opportunities, and then supplies and materials. And we're shifting. In the past, we used it for related services, but we are going to make an attempt to bill for SHARs, so we can take advantage of that reimbursement. So, and that's funding that comes back to the district.
Could you please explain SHARs to them, because I don't know if they know what.
SHARs is oh my God, what is this?
You know, but. Yeah.
So basically, we have a lot of our students that are special needs. They require certain services, and our paras and our teachers provide those services, and they could be billed. They're billed to Medicaid. So because they're providing those type of services, then we can
recoup some of the money.
Recoup some of the funding for those particular positions that are doing those duties and responsibilities.
Do you do that?
No, I don't currently. I've done it in the past at a prior district, but it is under special ed. We'll help support it. We're looking at either TASB and Houston ISD. Those are two third parties that can assist with the training and the process, and with the hiring of our new diagnostician. That was part of the job duties that was embedded within the job description. So in order to recoup some of what we're spending in special ed locally, hopefully recoup some of the funds.
Yeah, because we have a serious population in the elementary, and I definitely think that the chair could come in and help us out a little bit with some funding.
Yes, to recoup some of the funds. Yes, sir.
Is this only has 7,000? You said 100.
I forgot. I'm sorry. I missed it. It's 103. 7,000 is for preschool.
Oh, okay.
And then IDEA B is 103.
Okay,
it's a typo. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's good. I
know.
That's why I'm saying what I'm saying, because we have a big population in the elementary.
So that's the planning. I know we sent out, Dr. Revelo sent out a message earlier this week on some of the grants that are currently being in place currently now. One that we worked on this summer, Strong Foundations Grant. That's a big one. I'm hoping that we get that. Uvalde was the one that received the full amount last year, but now they're opening it up to districts, so we applied. And hopefully to help our at-risk population with bullying prevention, just adding to our social emotional needs of our kids.
Since you said that, I hope everybody got that email with all the grants, but I also specifically added bottom the kind of trainings we'll be doing with the teachers. All teachers getting training this week and next week, and I did invite you if you want to come out and see some of those trainings that they're getting. You come in and participate and see the kind of training they're getting, so you understand the kind of commitment that we're asking teachers to take for our community, our kids. So be all invited. Just I know you're still off of school, so you still can come and see our trainings going on. So you're welcome to do it. Just let me know, and then I'll plan it for you to come in. Okay?
What is it right now? at this point?
Tomorrow is Thursday, tomorrow is,
Math.
math. It's Eureka, no,
Carnegie math.
Carnegie math tomorrow. Tomorrow's math.
Train
Because
sixth grade to high school.
6th grade to high school.
What's the chance of us getting this, the grant?
I mean, we wrote it, you know, used of course the language. We had to recommend 3 people within our district to be reviewers, Ms. Marrero, myself, and a community member, parent. Ms. Ramos volunteered, and so there's quite a few districts that are applying. Based on our size, you're looking at probably maybe $500,000 roughly dollars. And we had, you know, kind of specifically write in what are some of the strategies that we would put in place. I think because our proximity to Uvalde, that could potentially play a part, I hope. But I think it would be a great opportunity. If we do get it, it would be awesome. Yes, ma'am. But it is a competitive grant. It's not, we're gonna, you know, it's competitive. So we're competing with districts all over the state. So on the second page, I have an overview of the status of our 22-23 grants, and what I've included here is the big ones, the ESSER 2, 3, and Title I. And basically, ESSER 2 is the grant program that was authorized by Coronavirus Response Relief Supplemental Appropriations that was signed into law in December of 2020. And the period of availability for this grant began on March 13, 2020, and it will end this September 30th, 2023, with carryover. So in working with Ms. Del Rio, being strategic because of the date, we have been using these funds first. And as you can see here, we use the drawdown. What that means is what we've asked TEA for reimbursement from, because we expended those funds. So in April of 23, you'll see that we drew down $207,000. And what some of those funds were used for were salaries, professional development, classroom supplies and materials. And also this past summer, we sent our SPED team, our FLS for the functional life skills classroom, both high school and elementary. That was both teacher aides and teachers. Went to a training in San Antonio for 4 days to train with specific individuals, and they actually got hands-on training with kids. There was kids in the classroom to see how it's supposed to look in that functional life skills. So we've invested in their training and want to see that those functional life skills, we're preparing those kids and giving them a voice, those that, you know, may have special needs with, you know, they may be nonverbal. So making sure that we give them a voice. So we're using these funds to ensure that that is happening, because, and it just my observation from when I got here, I wasn't happy with how it looked. And I'm, you know, these kids, we need to help, you know, these kids need to be helped. So that's where some of these funds are going. We did have an individual consultant come out and provide us an overview of that program and give us recommendations on what we can do, like 3 goals for the year. And one of them was training, and we've done that. Number 2 is making those rooms look like they need to for functional life skills for both the high school and the elementary. And then we've also added, as you know, an additional teacher to work with our preschool from, is it EC3 to 2nd grade. So she'll have a group of kids, build their skills, and is going to have her own room. We have a middle, which was Ms. Bettis's, the art teacher's old room. The middle room will be more of a sensory, functional PE, adaptive PE. And then the 3rd room will be Ms. Delgado with the 3rd through 5th or 6th grade kids.
Yeah, I want to reinforce that. We've done a lot of great effort to improve our special ed support here. Like I said, last year we hired a special ed TA. This year we hired extra special ed teacher. We put a lot of investment in training the team, and we're fixing up those rooms to make them more effective and efficient for our kids. So we're making a really concerted effort to target them and really support them. number one, because we thought it just wasn't where it needed to be, and, you know, we always fixed it when we see it's not up to par. But also, as our population grows, which it has been this past year, then we have to be ready to handle that load, and I think we're better suited now than we were in the beginning last year. So I think we're going in the right direction in that, and thank you for investing that money in those teachers, because they need that support too. So,
Will these rooms be ready by the time school
yeah.
starts?
Yeah, they're ready right now.
Yeah, Mr. Gaitan and his team are working hard to make them. And we're getting, we're getting the furniture and all that, and they're putting it together, so, yeah.
What we really, to be honest with you, what we really need is another facility for special ed.
Yes, sir, I agree.
I mean, I went to Low First in that building, that's a lot of years ago, like 60-something years ago.
No, I agree, but we have to make, do with what we
No
have.
matter how well you clean those
Yeah, I know.
buildings, they still stink like they're 70-year-old, you know. And I feel bad for the kids, and I talked to Dr. Arevalo, and I know we've been talking about it, it's those restrooms, no matter how we fix them, Juan can attest to that, every year we paint them and make them accessible, but man, those restrooms, give them about a month and they start stinking real bad, you know.
So basically for 22-23, we've spent to date, because we ran these numbers today, $438,335, and we, at the beginning of this year, we had $752,000 budgeted. So therefore, for as of July 2023, we have $313,779. Granted, some things are still coming through, and expenditures are being made. So, and then you have here a summary of that ESSER grant. Our original entitlement amount was $960,000, and spent to date $438. So we have the remaining $313,779.70. And it is, like I said, these funds have to be expended by September 30th. If we don't spend them all, we are going to have the option to roll them over into ESSER 3.
So we're not going to be able to carry it all?
Yes, we will, but to ESSER 3.
Okay, the ESSER 3 you are.
Yes.
So the ESSER 3.
The ESSER 3 is on the next page.
Does that mean that we still have a balance of 1.03?
Because we had to spend, we said we're going to spend down all of 2 because that ends this year.
They're gonna keep it, they're gonna use it.
And we're
Use
gonna
it or lose it, essentially.
No, that we won't.
I know, because we're gonna move it over to 3.
We're gonna move it over.
I heard you.
That's why I asked,
Yeah.
because we're
And
going to
so-
carry it over to the next year.
Yep, to 3.
ESSER 3.
We've kind of barely touched it this year. We did pay some salaries out of there, and some training for teachers on Eduphoria, some supplies and materials, and then also sent PD for our LPC went out on ESSER 3. So overall, based on the summary, we have a balance to date of about $1 million. And me and Miriam, Dr. Revalo, and the team are looking at, due to the fact, I'm sure you heard yesterday, the shortfall and the fiscal cliff that, Texas, as far as funding is concerned, we don't know how we're going to look. I know they're having a special session, and we may find something out in October, where we will, if they're going to fund in any particular way for next year. But we're looking to be strategic with that $1 million to see so we don't hit the fund balance as much, where we can supplant some of those expenses. But keep in mind, once this money's gone, it's gone. And so that's why we need to be very mindful of how it's expended. And that is why, as far as where we're spending it, in one of those places is in SPED, because the need is so much.
How long can we carry over? Like, I would imagine that it's best to think about next year, and that we have that money and we have the staff available next year, and hopefully the state will help us with a little bit of money, and
But keep in mind, we paid the retention stipend that went out in June, that was paid out of ESSER 2. The full amount was paid there. So there is still money, you see the balance. where we could offer that again, but we have to meet as a group, and we have to have another community meeting, and maybe send out surveys to the community to determine, how they want to see this money
So you,
spent.
in ESER 2, you still have 300 and 300.
We're spending money, still to prepare for the year, to get the teachers in the classrooms what they need. Because otherwise, as you see, the local budget, it's tight, and it's gonna get, we don't know what's gonna happen.
Essentially, we're
so.
gonna try and put whatever we can in ESER so we don't hit our,
budget, yeah.
as much as we
That's
can.
what I mean, you have
Yeah.
313.
But you heard that number yesterday, so.
Yeah, I know.
So-
We're playing with that
Yeah,
number.
so,
It looks
yeah.
pretty close to it.
Okay.
Do you have any questions for me?
I just want to commend you on your hard work, ma'am. I've told Dr. Arevalo before, I hope they don't charge you for parking because you're there all day and evening. So just good job.
Thank you.
Thank you for your presentation, and again, thank you for all the work you do. Those of us that have dealt with federal funds, you know how much red tape is involved in some of that, so we certainly appreciate your time and effort. Let
And
the
the
record
grants
reflect.
too, and the grants, so thank you for applying for those grants.
Yes.
Definitely.
Let the record reflect that this item is for information only, therefore no action is required by the board. Item number 17 is discussion and possible action to determine a date for the goal-setting training for the board by Mrs. Orozco from TASB. All of you got a text message
it's
today.
dates.
And the following dates were available if you want to look at your text. August 8th, August 17th, August 23rd, August 24th, and August the 30th.
And she said possible Saturday, if you guys want Saturday.
And a possible Friday or Saturday. She does have several school boards that rather do it on a Saturday than during the week.
So this is a critical one, because this is the one about goal setting. So once we set the board goals, then we can set superintendent goals, and
Right.
How to meet those goals, strategy.
So,
what are the wishes of the board?
Dates.
All the dates are available except the 17th for me.
The 8th of August, as Mr. Ramirez says, he could do 8th of August. You said you can't do 17th?
Right.
So the 8th works for you?
8th is any other day except the 17th.
What's the calendar look like?
The 8th, I'm looking at my calendar. I don't think I have anything on the 8th. It's the day before, yeah.
Any day for me.
Any day for
I
me.
still
Date
play
works for you?
by ear, play by ear.
We got 4. Ms. Lahara, the April 8th? good
The
for you?
8th is fine for me.
Okay, so that's 6.
I'm looking at the calendar, yeah. It's a Tuesday.
That's the majority of you for the 8th.
Yeah.
I'll entertain a motion to approve the 8th.
Second.
Motion by Joe Ramirez, seconded by Anthony Gallegos, to approve August the 8th as the training for the board on goal setting with Mrs. Orozco from TASB. This motion is debatable and amendable, requires a majority vote to pass. Any discussion? If not, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, signify by raising your hands. 6-0, motion passes.
Who seconded? Bettis?
I second it.
By the way, I want
Gallegos.
to say thank you for being at the Board Operating Procedures. I think it was a great training, and I appreciate your participation, and I appreciate the dedication and time you gave to being in that meeting. It was very informative, I thought. A very good meeting.
Yes. Next item is item number 18, discussion and possible action to approve the waiver for the September 14th, 2022, when the district had that's the correct date?
Yes, September 14th, 2022. Yeah, that's September. Yeah, September.
Okay. And that was when we had a threat, and we had about 60% of our attendance on that day. The parents coming panicking and basically checking the students out of school.
Right.
So we need to go ahead and get that waiver, and so we don't get docked on attendance for that day.
Yeah, because we averaged 90, so we're looking 30% loss, so I'm hoping to recover that by submitting the waiver, but I need your permission in order to.
Anything will do it.
Yeah, so I need permission to be able to submit it tomorrow. Yes, sir.
Motion.
Oh,
You making a motion?
I second.
The motion has been made by Eloy Vera, seconded by Rora Nájera, to approve the waiver for September the 14th, 2022, which costs and attendance of 60% for that day. This motion is debatable and amendable, requires a majority vote to pass. Is there any discussion? If not, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor signify by raising your hand. All opposed, same sign, 6-0. Motion passes. Item number 19, discussion and possible action to approve a stipend for teachers that do a fourth prep in the amount of $3,000. Dr. Arevalo, the floor is yours.
I appreciate them. One of the things that the teachers and what Ms. Dr. Talamantes and Ms. Marrero, myself, and Ms. Paez, and the whole team, really, Dr. Calderon as well, we tried to make our schedule more efficient. One of the things, today specifically, I was superintendent training today in Austin, and one of the things they were harping on and really getting to us is making sure that your schedule is as tight, as efficient as possible. Having, rooms with 7 or 6 kids, 8 kids, is just not something feasible, especially with the budget shortfall from the state. And if you recall, when I had the TASB audit done about HR, they did recommend some sort of a reduction in force in certain areas. But we were able to mitigate that by being more efficient with our schedule. However, that does mean that there is one teacher in the district that might have 4 preps. And so, have you been a teacher? If you've been a teacher, you know how much more work that is. And I want to make sure that we at least compensate for this person by giving them a stipend of $3,000 for the extra work to prepare the extra prep. And so I wanted the authorization to add that to our stipend list to be able to pay any teacher that has 4 preps that stipend for the extra work.
How many teachers do we have?
Right now, 1, possibly 2. 2.
Mm-hmm. And, so does that, I was going to say, does that count elementary? Because elementary teachers plan for many periods.
No, ma'am, it's different. It's a different world, you know that. And so the secondary, that's a prep for them.
Okay, administration's recommendation is for the board to consider approval of a stipend of $3,000 for those teachers that have a 4th prep during the school year. The motion is made by.
I'm sorry, sir. Is it a course are they course subjects or just any?
No, they're core subjects. So like one's in science and yes, core subject, core subjects.
Usually you say science and mathematics, that's where it is. Even though, that stipend is going to be good for them.
Mr. Gallegos, that motion still stands?
Okay.
Yes.
Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
3?
If we, remember, like we were talking about the AP curriculum or AP curriculum next year. If we add these courses and we're asking the teachers to do the extra prep, we need to be able to compensate them for doing the extra prep. In this case, we want to do English 4 so they can get college credit.
Yes.
It's almost like a.
If they pass.
If they pass it.
If they score the 4 or 5. Yes. On the AP.
Yeah.
Which our kids have not been able to in the prior for so long. So sad.
The same person do all courses.
Yeah.
And have a person attend the
We've had it.
for the day, and the possibility of her doing it. She's very for it. We just can't do it this year because she is not trained to do it.
She's not certified
She will be
either.
trained next year.
Mr. Gallegos, your motion still stands?
Still stands.
Motion has been made by Anthony Gallegos. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Alejandro Perez to approve the $3,000 stipend for teachers that have a 4th preparation during the school year. This motion is debatable and amendable, requires a majority vote to pass. Is there any other discussion? If not, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, raise your hand. All opposed, same sign. 6 in favor, 0 against, motion passes. Item number 20, discussion and possible action to approve recommendations presented by TASB representatives Christine Centeno and Zach Hobbs on payroll audits completed for Pryor ISD on May the 24th with implementation in the 2023-2024 fiscal year for the district. All of us should, I think, were here during that presentation. This is just a formality to approve that with the understanding that it may be tweaked according to our needs. It doesn't necessarily lock us in to those recommendations that were made. However, as a formality, we need to go ahead and approve those recommendations and go from there. So a motion has been made by Eloy Vera to approve the TASB audit. Is there a second?
Second. I have a question. Are we using this already for salaries for this year? Or we're just accepting what was discussed?
They're holding, they're frozen until we approve this. Once we approve this, it goes live. Julie will update everybody with that, yes, right away.
But we don't know how much money we're spending.
Yes,
We
we
will
did.
afterwards? I mean,
No,
can you
we-
give us more information on that?
No, so yesterday in the budget meeting, I shared all that with
Oh, you
everybody.
had that yesterday.
Yeah, with the budget, I gave them the book, I'm gonna give you one today.
That's fine.
I'm gonna give you
That's
one
okay.
today as well.
I
so you have your
trust, I trust you.
No, they were here, yes. I'll give you a copy for you as well. And this, when I added, make sure that we're clear about this too, this also adds a percentage increase for cost of living cost of raise for across the board for all staff. And so I'm gonna be recommending that as well. So the recommendation is, they recommend that in there as well. So that includes that as well. So I make sure that teachers understand, all staff understand that this also includes their raise that we couldn't approve it last month, so I'm hoping to approve it this month, so that this almost could include it in the next paycheck. It is, I am I'm sorry, sir.
That includes that 2 or 3%.
I'm about to recommend right now.
Okay.
Yeah, so I recommend that we approve this, TASB representatives compensation, the new, I guess, I should say,
Payroll
I could call it the scale, the scales for the Pryor ISD, that'll be employed for all employees, and included a 3% recommendation for increase across the board for all staff members.
That's what I was waiting for.
Yes, ma'am.
The percentage.
3%.
You're gonna recommend 3%?
Yes, so I just did that.
I make a motion. I second it.
Well, Loivera made a motion, then I think you seconded.
Then whatever.
Okay.
No, you second.
Motion has been made and seconded to approve the payroll audit completed by for La Pryor ISD by TASB representatives, which will include a 3% across-the-board pay raise for all staff as recommended by the superintendent. Any discussion?
Yes, sir. Shouldn't we add on there on the agenda, the 3%? Doesn't say nothing.
I think we
about-
should.
It's
Doesn't say
in the
nothing.
packet, so it's all part of the whole.
Yeah, but the agenda doesn't say that.
It
That's
was in the,
okay.
it was in the
No, I'm saying
recommendation.
Yeah,
it's in the,
I understand.
yeah.
We can't add it to the agenda.
I could add it though,
I
makes
mean-
sense.
Well, we can't add it on the agenda unless,
Right, go ahead.
Yeah.
you know, we
Dale, dale, gas.
put it on there, so that's, it's in the minutes,
Right.
the 3%
Yes.
across the board for all staff as recommended by administration. Any other discussion? If not, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, signify by raising your hand. All opposed, same sign. 6-0, motion passes. Next item is item number 21. And at this time, the Board of Trustees, pursuant with the Texas Government Code Sections 551.101, specifically addressing personnel, the board is entitled by law to deliberate and discuss employment, evaluations, reassignments, duties, discipline, dismissal of a public officer or employee, and our consultation with the attorney, especially dealing with personnel items. By law, also, the board is not allowed to take action on any of these items in closed session. Therefore, we will reconvene in open session to take any action on any items that were discussed in closed session. With that said, the board is now adjourned in closed session at 9:12 p.m.